Busy day on Sunday, a lot to catch you up on in especially the NFL. And a lot of it was the Bills yesterday. Josh Allen signing a new 6-year, $330 million deal with the Buffalo Bills. That includes a league record $250 million guaranteed. His previous contract had 4 years remaining on it, so it's really the equivalent of a 2-year extension, but a lot more money along the way. And for the Bills, more cap space in 2025, although the exact amount that it lowers his cap hit, not fully known yet. Greg Rousseau also signs back with the Bills. 4 years, $80 million, $54 million of that is guaranteed. And the Bills also release Von Miller, which saves roughly $8 million in cap space with that move. Lots of news around the NFL. The Myles Garrett sweepstakes are over before they really began. Garrett, $40 million per year to stay in Cleveland. Devontae Adams goes to the Los Angeles Rams on a 2-year deal to go to L.A. And other wide receiver news is DK Metcalf is going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was traded from Seattle to Pittsburgh for a second-round pick, and the Steelers are paying him a new contract worth $30 million per year. Seahawks did a lot over the weekend. They also traded their starting quarterback, Geno Smith, to the Raiders for a third-round pick. So the Raiders' starter this year will be Geno Smith, and the Seahawks, by trading Smith and Metcalf, are looking at a little bit of a start-over for them. To the Sabres, they made their big trade, Dylan Cousins, on Friday for Josh Norris, and then got shut out by the Panthers on Saturday. They are back in action today. Norris's home debut, 7 o'clock against the Edmonton Oilers. We'll have the game with pregame starting at 6 here on WGR. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of business.
It's time for the all-new Let's Make a Deal, starring TV's big
Brandon Bean
rolls out to his right to avoid pressure, but Greg Rousseau gets him from behind with an ankle tackle for the sack. Has time, rolls to his right to buy more, heaves it down the field, and it's intercepted! Picked off by Terrell Bernard! Fakes the throw. Allen going to step up in the pocket. Now he's going to take it and run, and he's got the first down and more. 10, 5, and muscles his way into the end zone for an unbelievable 26-yard touchdown run. Are you kidding me?
You're listening to Jeremy and Joe on the home of the Bills. WGR Sports Radio 550.
What's up? It's a Monday, and there is a lot to catch you up on. It's a good open for all the money that was tossed around over the last couple of days. It's dark out again, by the way.
I was so disappointed when I looked and saw it was going to be 7:35 for the sunrise today.
I guess I didn't think about what the consequence of doing the daylight savings over the weekend was. The consequence is I was liking the sun starting to come up at like 7 o'clock. And especially here, we want great lighting. So you get the sun comes in on your faces. We don't look like zombies on the stream. And they just took that away from us too. So sun will come up at 8 o'clock. It's Jeremy and Joe. Jeremy will be here in shortly. We'll have something ready for him when he walks through the doors. But there is a lot to get into. How many things happened since we were last on the air? Friday morning, before the NHL trade deadline, so it's the Cousins trade, and then, the NFL just decided we're going to do all our stuff in 24 hours. Everything happened yesterday. So, yeah, there was good golf also over the weekend. A nice little comeback in the Arnold Palmer. So, yeah, weather is getting better. This week's going to be days in the 50s, and then a day in the 60s, I think, as well, that I was looking at. Maybe that's Friday, I think. Friday, because of whatever day one of the parades is coming up on is also going to be like super warm. So, yeah, spring, and that means daylight savings, and that means football transaction news everywhere. I don't even know what the most interesting one is. We'll get to the Bills things, of course, and the Allen deal, the money that's involved. Nothing is really, though, surprising of the Bills news. Maybe what the money is or like the order of it. Nothing, though, is really that surprising, I don't think, for what the Bills did. The really interesting things league-wide, I mean, Seattle's just burning it down, I think. Depends. We'll see what they do with quarterback. If they sign Sam Darnold this week, by the way, free agency, legal tampering, all that good stuff, and maybe Seattle's in that market. They just trade their starting quarterback and their big-name receiver in a 48-hour stretch. We're going to completely start over with Mike McDonald as the head coach. So there's that. Garrett completely goes back on the idea that I'm going to go to a contender. That's all I want. Money? No, I'm good. I don't care. The GM said a week ago that he was willing to pay him $40 million, so that wasn't new. But nope, I'm good. $40 million, fine. We'll get into all these more in depth, but just running through them, like a lot of the Garrett thing, I guess, is the thing I'm most disappointed in. I really, really thought he was doing the trade thing, not the, let me say I want to trade because in reality I'm going to be willing to go back to my team for just a lot more money. We need a let's get stupid of if you demand a trade in the NFL, you have to be traded. That's it. You're not allowed. It's a rule. New rule in the NFL. If you say I want to be traded, especially if you do it in front of a camera and a microphone like Garrett did. If you say, I want to trade, or if you put a formal request in for a trade, you're no longer eligible to play for your old team. That's it. No going back to them for, $10 million more per year. Nope, you say I want to trade, you have to be traded. That's it. You've pulled that card. That should be the new rule in the NFL. So Metcalf to Pittsburgh, and the same joke being made by everybody on Twitter is that Metcalf and Pickens are just it's gonna be Fight Club. They're just one cornerback looks at them the wrong way, and they're just gonna body slam them like in the middle of a play. No concern for whatever else is happening. So we'll get to all that. Allen, though, MVP year, and then he signs for $300 million. I was surprised to see the chart of what the guaranteed money comes in at compared to others in quarterback history, because it's only quarterbacks that are up there. It's Deshaun Watson, who's over $200 million. And I think I saw that was it. Total guarantees, Allen being at $250 million, and nobody else in the NFL, except for Watson, was over 200. Like Burrow at 180, I think I saw the number was. So 70 million over what that is. By the way, Josh actually warned me to this, so I shouldn't be surprised. I went to go look for that chart. Tell him, Josh. Tell the people what I just did.
There's a lovely thing on a Monday morning where Twitter is down.
Yeah,
it's super cool.
Twitter's broken.
If you look at the the down detector websites at about 5:45, there's just a massive spike when you look up is X down.
Yeah.
So no Twitter today. So we're just kind of going in blind.
See,
I guess.
This is where though I run over to Blue Sky and look up the same person that I remember putting that chart out and see did he also post it on Blue Sky, and he did not. So. Either way, though, it was no one else over 200 except for Watson and Josh Allen. So, yeah, big week in the NFL. And it feels like a lot of the stuff has already happened. We'll of course get to what has happened. The only thing to happen, I think, still is going to be Hendrickson. Like the big move that we'll have to still talk about. Garrett's gone. Max Crosby's gone. Metcalf's gone. Adams is gone. These were all ideas that we would have at least touched on, if not gone in depth on, as ideas for the Bills. All of which made some sense for the Bills. Each one of them in their own way. Garrett and Crosby, because of the elite pass rusher move that the Bills haven't had really the whole time it's been Bean and McDermott. They fit that. Metcalf, because he's the perfect type of receiver for what the Bills didn't have, the perfect type of skill set. Adams, because we're pretty sure they were interested last year. And all of those ideas are now presently off the table, obviously. But the one that is still there, and this doesn't include free agency, right? Because free agency, there'll be options. Josh Sweat and Khalil Mack, like they're ideas to get to. But Hendrickson's going to be the one. Hendrickson is going to be the one. They're out here creating cap space with these extensions and the new Allen deal, and they release Vaughn. Hendrickson is the guy. But will the Bengals be willing to trade him to you? And is that going to be the same deal as what we just saw with Garrett? Where, he wants a trade, and then, he's out on the market, and he's talking to teams, and no, just go back to the Bengals. He'll just go back to Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati's different, though, which is why maybe you shouldn't just assume that what just happened with Garrett pulled the rug out from under you on the Myles Garrett sweepstakes. Nope, you're not allowed. No one's allowed to even put a bid in. No one could talk to the GM the whole time. That this would be different because this is his second trade request, and it's an organization that has often not done what Cleveland just did, spending the giant sum of money on the big-name defensive end. So I don't know that there's even a debate on this. If there's another name out there, 803-0550 is the phone number. What the big move left is that isn't him, because I think he's going to be the runaway answer for this. He's awesome. He's 30. He's not 34 like when they signed Vaughn. He led the NFL in sacks last year with 17.5, and he had 17.5 sacks the year before.
On a not good defense either.
On a terrible defense.
Like, he was the guy.
Yep. And any of the, underlying number stuff, if you're wondering, all of that's elite too. There's no, he had 17 sacks, but he was 20th in pass rush. No, he's top 5. Top 5 in every single category. So, yeah, Hendrickson will be the one. I guess I don't know which one I'm most disappointed. Doesn't it have to be Garrett? The move from the weekend you're most disappointed, because that was the one. It was the guy, top 5 player in the league. You look at the NFL top 100 lists that are always made available by the players, that they always vote on that. And Garrett's always at the top of that list. He's one of the best defensive ends ever. He's still in his prime.
Are we more disappointed that he's not moving in general, or that he's not coming here?
No, I mean, here. No, yeah, I didn't want to see him go to, Baltimore.
Sure, but, I mean,
or whatever.
Just to see a big move like that, I think, would also be just kind of fun.
That's true. I don't think he's there forever, by the way. Here's my take on the Garrett deal. My take on the Garrett deal is, what do you have? He had 2 years left on his contract. This year, his last contract, this year and next year, were the only 2 deals remaining on his contract. What I think the Garrett deal really is Andrew Berry and the Browns saying, just give us those 2 years. Give us those 2 years. We're going to give you a massive pay raise, and we'll attach more years to your contract, and we'll give you the full no movement clause, full no trade clause, which he has, so that what does he want? He wants to be on a contender. He's saying, all right, Browns, for $40 million, I'll give you 2 years to prove to me that you're a contender. And if 2 years go by and they're bad and nothing is coming of it, then I think he'll get traded at that point. I actually didn't vote for this because I think you would have acceptable reasons. You have children, so...
Children. Yes. It was a rough weekend, I can tell you about that. Sorry for being late. It really was.
So anyways, yeah.
Well, this is the problem with the stream online now. Is if somebody's 10 minutes late, we can't fake it. It used to be, at the start of the show, Joe talked for 8 minutes, 10 minutes. What happened? Or vice versa. Now
he just had a lot to say on the Garrett deal.
Now it's just I watched you walk in at 6:12, man. Yeah. So, sorry.
Yeah, does the bullpen would have been right on it, right? I don't even have it open.
You can't get anything by them.
Yeah. Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
They're all
Hi,
right
guys.
over it.
Hi, everybody. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes it happens. Anyway, I'm excited to be here. That's the other thing.
A billion things that happened,
right.
by the way.
I woke up, flat out woke up late. That's it. And I have a studio at home. I could have checked in from home and been I'll just do from home today because I overslept. But there's too much going on that I figured I want to be here. We got a lot to get to. So anyway, what's up? What I miss? Put it on the list of things that happened.
There was a little spot in the bottom right of our checklist.
Maybe I'll start a new thing that's big things happen when I'm late. And that'll give me a chance. I'll just come in later. What do you think?
But see,
and then we need a trade. All right, I'm gonna be a little late this week.
But
see if we can get that trade to happen.
But what about being late? You're after the fact, after all the news poured in. By your logic, the Bills are trading for Trey Hendrickson in the next hour.
If that happens, I get to be late for a month.
Hey, you walked in and Twitter's back.
Hour?
So
Twitter's back. Oh, it's down?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah, we're cooking now.
Meanwhile, I have to update my day of the week clock because the time is off by an hour. Clocks go ahead.
But the day isn't.
The day's not wrong. Well, it would be, midnight, which would really be, mind. Anyway, I'm going to set my clock here. I'll work on that in the break.
Yeah.
Anyway, good morning.
Morning.
Lots and lots of stuff going on.
Yeah. Most disappointed in any of it? The Garrett deal, I was very disappointed that he gets traded. And that we need to make a rule in the NFL that if you request a trade, you have to be traded. You're no longer eligible to go back to the team that you were presently on. Too much of that going on.
Who did that?
Garrett did it, and Stafford did it, and
That's right.
Is there another one? Did somebody else do it?
Garrett is
Hendrickson. You requested a trade. You're not allowed to play for the Bengals anymore.
That's right. Garrett is a special level of commitment because he wrote a full goodbye letter to the city.
Right. Yes,
he wrote a letter that he broke up with them. He broke up with them and went back. That's not the same as just he's been given permission to seek a trade or reportedly wants out. We broke up.
Yeah.
So if he had a couple of sacks for another team in between, that would not be cheating. He broke up with them.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. And now the bad news is the worst part of the Garrett news is now for the rest of time. If we want to talk about a player that's asked for a trade, people get to write to us on Twitter, oh, yeah, but it's another Garrett situation. Why are you guys talking about this?
Even if they write a letter. The player writes a letter.
Matter.
Yeah, there's no amount.
He has ruined trade speculation for great players. Remember Garrett?
Didn't even think of this part.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I also remember the other players like Metcalf, who did get traded.
Right, that's right.
Now we're going to have to get a trades per trade request. What's the
ratio? What's the percentage of guys that say I want to get traded that actually end up getting traded and don't just go back to their original team for more money?
Yep. Well, anyway, good morning, everybody. Hi. So there's so much to get to. I was thinking about
everything. If you want to go in chronological order, it's the Cousins trade. But I mean, the Bills did 5 things since then. So
you don't want to lead with Cousins' 9 hits in the game and how that was the biggest story in Canada yesterday. Dylan Cousins had 9 hits in a game.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Good for him.
It's fine. Wish him the best. Yeah. All right, there's a lot to get to. The Josh extension. I think the biggest. I mean, it's obviously Garrett and Metcalf. Josh is big news, but is it big news?
It wasn't out of nowhere. It wasn't surprising. The money isn't really surprising.
Controversial.
No.
If anything,
it was almost expected. So.
Yeah, and the number, of course, had to go up. The thing that seems to be interesting is that I saw Brad Spielberger write this, that we have to see the numbers, but he has the impression that Josh is maybe doing what Tom Brady did and legitimately not taking as much money to try to win.
$55 million per year when he was Greg Thompson at Cover One, who's a lot of the cap stuff. His reaction was, I remember reading on Twitter, when it was up was like I thought he was going to get like $65 million.
Yeah.
It's between 60 and 65.
Well, the thing I've been telling everybody for a long time is like get rid of the number of millions and look at percentage of cap, and where Allen hit that is not very high. If you did go ahead and get the number one percentage of cap for quarterbacks because he deserves that, as the cap balloons to where it is,
I think he's going to be, he's definitely going to be below Prescott because Prescott's got a higher number, like in general.
Yep.
Not more guaranteed money. Allen set the record for guaranteed money by a lot, but
that's true. Like as we give him credit for taking less, he did write his name down and guarantee $250 million.
Yeah, and no other quarterback except for Deshaun Watson I saw has ever been above $200 million.
Yeah.
So Burrow is going to be lower percent. Yeah, Burrow is going to be higher in percentage of cap when he signed. Jordan Love higher, Trevor Lawrence higher, Tua higher, Jared Goff higher. I think Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson higher too.
That's what I mean. All these guys have a higher percentage of cap at signing.
Yeah, and usually how do quarterback contracts work? It's if it's your turn to sign, even if this is a good take on this I didn't think of, because when every quarterback signs, it doesn't even matter if you're the best, but if you're one of the top guys, your turn to get paid, you're going to have the number one contract. He just won MVP, and he's not number one.
Right.
So, yeah, that actually, I think you could definitely have that take this morning.
It's pretty good. However, there's a lot of different ways to look at these contracts, and we should get on a new flow chart, which is, did a guy sign with your team? Yes. Okay, the contract's not as big as it looks. Did he sign with somebody else? Oh, somebody else? Okay, the contract is too big.
There are times, though, when it's the other way. When Dawson Knox signed, it was
maybe. I mean, Devontae Adams.
Shock.
Devontae Adams looks like he got $26 million a year. He didn't. He really got 1 year.
Yeah.
It's a 1 year contract. So, with a second year on there if they want it. A lot of this, was whatever. The money that's about to get thrown around, is it's incredible.
The Patriots' Harold Landry contract was huge money yesterday for what he was supposed to be. Like, there's going to be sticker shock on a lot of players this week.
Right.
And
I wouldn't get it. I would have traded for Metcalf. I would have traded a second. I would have given him the contract he got. Both.
Second-round pick and then $30 million per year?
Yes, which is probably not $30 million a year. Mm-hmm. Which is, he got a 4-year extension on top of the deal he already has. Mm-hmm. So it's not a 5-year deal. It's a 4-year extension. I probably would have done that. Metcalf through age 32, and then it's over, and probably have an out, in 2 years or 3 years? The
probably.
Steelers do. The other thing about the Metcalf deal is it drives home how if the Bills made that deal that Pittsburgh did, wouldn't the reaction be different? The reaction is, LOL Steelers, Pickens, and Metcalf have fun 10-7 with Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
If the Bills had done it, what would the reaction be? Holy cow.
Yeah, look out.
It would have been...
Check their Super Bowl odds.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of making a trade is, does it make sense for you, and where do you stand in the league? And you can look no farther than... Think about Mario Williams. When Mario Williams signed with the Bills, Rodney Harrison went on television and asked why he would do that. It was a joke.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Mario Williams went to a franchise that loses all the time. He did it for the money.
Right.
If he goes to a team that wins, they're oh my God, they're stacked. What a great player. What a great move.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bills are going to get benefit of the doubt on a lot of players, and whether that was Adams, who they didn't get, and it's fine. There's going to be other ideas, or Metcalf, who I would have made that trade, or Hendrickson. If Trey Hendrickson gets
Hendrickson's the one name left that's not free agency,
right?
Yeah.
And if Hendrickson gets traded to the Carolina Panthers, it's going to be like, okay, you guys have a good time, man.
That's what Garrett's getting treated like.
Right.
Garrett is, I would have taken $40 million to lose too, I guess. Like, you're signing for the money because for him, though, on top of it is he told everybody he didn't think the Browns were contenders anymore. Right? He said he wanted a contender. He wanted a chance to win a Super Bowl. Therefore, I'm leaving the Cleveland Browns. And then he's back on the Cleveland Browns. So he can't hide from he did it for the money. I think he's just giving them 2 years to prove he's a contender, and then he can get out after that. But yeah, Metcalf doesn't change for me what I think Pittsburgh is. I think Pittsburgh might end up trading Pickens anyway. So the idea that they have this receiver duo that, they're going to fight everybody, but they also have talent, I don't know that we're even going to get to see it. Because Pickens is in the final year of his deal. If they just paid Metcalf the money he did, they're not also signing Pickens. Are they to a 4-year, whatever, giant money deal? Like, this was their receiver move, I think.
Yeah.
They need a quarterback, so I don't know if they're going to be spending $25+ million on 2 receivers before they pay a quarterback or have a quarterback, really.
Well, Pickens' name is already right there as a trade idea. Is he going to get traded?
I think he'll get traded.
I do too. I think he'll get traded. I think they did this because they know they're going to trade Pickens.
So get all your memes out now about how they're going to fight everybody when they get out on the field together.
Yeah, I think they'll trade Pickens. And do I want that guy? I mean, I want his skill set. He is not that far off from exactly what Metcalf is. He's not exactly the same.
He's not as fast.
No, that's right, but he's an outside guy that makes catches, and I mean, I'm not so sure. I'm not nearly as convinced as I would have been on Metcalf. But there is very much a question of, okay, what now?
Yeah.
Is it just a regular offseason? You make minimal free agent signings and draft a class and call it a year?
Well,
or is there a big move that they're going to make out there that we just don't know what it is yet?
What do we have to reclassify what a big move will be for them? Hendrickson would be a big move, but beyond that, like if they do the thing that we've been saying is the most likely move the whole time, and they just sign Khalil Mack, is that going to qualify as a big move?
That's
not minimal, but
that'll be their big move.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mack seems like a good idea. I'm still on board with Khalil Mack. All right, we'll get a break in. 803-0550. Sorry I was late, everybody. Hi. Hello to the bullpen. Hello to the chat.
He made it here.
It doesn't happen much. I was really excited to be here today, too. Doesn't happen much, but sometimes it happens. 803-0550 is our phone number. All right, what is next? What's the move? A lot of the moves many of us dreamed of, whichever one it was, they're gone. So what's the move? You can hold out for Hendrickson still or have another name. I mean, Brandon Ayuk could still get traded, but that one is tough to me because of the injury. And then defensively, free agency. There are a lot of defensive linemen on the free agent market and would expect the Bills to land one of them somewhere along the way. And a reasonably big number maybe, like Jonathan Allen or there's a couple ideas. All right, 803-0550, break time. Sal at 7. We probably need Sal for 2 segments. There was so much news between all the extensions and all the trades and all that stuff. Paul at 8:30 on the Dylan Cousins trade, that as well. 803-0550, already said that. That's our phone number. Join us here on WGR.
Hey, it's Sneaky Joe DiBiase here. It is the perfect time to refresh and renew with spring in the air. Not just your surroundings, but your spirit too. And as we ride the roller coaster of Buffalo weather, getting closer and closer to summertime eventually, good to do something for your community too. At Roswell Park's Donor Center, they're in need of blood and platelet donors. Just like the flowers that are blooming, your donation can bring new life and hope to a local cancer patient. We are the city of good neighbors, and when you donate at the Donor Center, your donation stays right in the community at Roswell Park. Each donation offers strength, those battling for their lives, a chance to be a part of their journey, chance to offer hope when it's needed most. This spring, give the gift of life, donate blood or platelets at Roswell Park's Donor Center. Please schedule your appointment today. You could either call the number 1-800-ROSWELL, or you could just check out their website, roswellpark.org/donate. You could schedule it there. The Roswell Park Donor Center, where hope blooms. Bills did a lot over the weekend. They gave Josh Allen a new 6-year, $330 million contract, which is a league record $250 million guaranteed in his contract, adds 2 years to his previous deal. Greg Rousseau signs 4 years, $80 million to stay with the Bills. $54 million of that is guaranteed. The Bills also releasing Von Miller, which saves roughly $8 million in cap space. Myles Garrett staying with the Browns for a contract that'll pay him $40 million per year. Devontae Adams goes to the Raiders on a 2-year contract. DK Metcalf traded from Seattle to Pittsburgh for a second-round pick, and he signs a $30 million per year extension over 5 years. The Seahawks starting over to some degree. They're trading Metcalf and then also trading Geno Smith to the Raiders for a third-round pick. Sabres are in action again tonight. They'll play Edmonton, 7 o'clock. McDavid in town. Pregame starts at 6 here on WGR. Those are your Paddock Chevrolet sports headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of business.
They're getting out ahead of it, right? You tie Josh Allen down through the year 2030. You give him 2 additional years. And I think by locking him in, you also keep your player that much happy. You have him adjusted to the market, and he's contractually tied to Buffalo for the next 6 years. So there's an advantage to that when you know you have a player who's the NFL MVP, who made as many plays as he did, who's not going anywhere. And so the Bills felt like this was a wise move to move forward with Josh Allen. I think it actually even provides some salary cap relief, and you lock in the reigning NFL MVP through the year 2030.
Adam Schefter on the Josh Allen extension. Not exactly surprising. I think we just kind of live in a world where, you have an NFL team with an NFL quarterback who's good. He just keeps getting extended. He's going to be there till the end of time. The thing and we're all maybe interested in seeing from this point is void years, moving money.
How many are on there?
I mean, it says 2-year extension. Are void years included in the overall? No, they're not.
Usually.
Give me like 10 void years. Drop that cap, baby. I don't exactly know how the cap works. I kind of have a loose idea. But give me a cap hit this year that is so low that they're going to add 6 defensive starters. I don't know. It's probably too much. Anyway, Allen gets a new deal, and that's great. He gets an extension, 2 years tacked on, and now the offseason is upon us with the legal tampering period. I'd like to formally thank Myles Garrett. Even though he kind of pulled one over on all of us, he got us through 3 weeks of some really rough time. Post-Super Bowl to the start of the league year, that's pretty rough. And Garrett did a great job to get us through that. Hendrickson's a part of that too. Max Crosby. All the talk.
They waited the right amount of time to line it up.
That's right. At the Super Bowl, they talked about wanting to play and be blah, 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 blah. And then they just re-signed with their teams late in the game, and we can move on. Garrett, no longer an idea.
It's still lame. It's lame.
It is lame.
Go back to Cleveland.
It is lame.
You made fun of he made fun of, I'm talking about him. He made fun of the GM for saying Cleveland to Canton. And he's like, fine, Cleveland to Canton.
Yeah.
It's fine. Fine with me.
The belief is everybody has a number, of course. And some players do want to win. Some players, whatever. I guess I can't begrudge him too much. If they take a quarterback with the 2nd overall pick and pretend Deshaun Watson's not on the team, they'll be fine. But anyway.
How much credit does the GM deserve for holding the line, being just refusing to talk to anybody about it?
He might,
because not everybody would do that, right? Your star player becomes available, you're a month into it, he's still not talking to you. You might think, all right, I got to start doing, I do this, right? But the owner and how he thinks about a situation with a player like that matters too. But he, was his attitude towards the trade request part of the reason that Garrett had a second thought? That, man, I'm gonna look how ugly I'm gonna have to make it.
Right.
I'm gonna have to sit out games. I'm gonna have to be at odds with the organization for months, and I'd rather just take the $40 million at that point.
Yeah, you're playing poker. Who's gonna blink, right? Mm-hmm. Or whatever. You're in a staring contest, rather. Who's gonna blink?
Yeah.
And maybe Andrew Berry knew the whole time that Garrett was I know what's up. You know, you have conversations with the player and maybe conversations with the agent, and the agent's like, oh, here's our number. He's gonna go. You better $40 million.
I guess what makes it interesting to me is Barry said $40 million like a week and a half ago.
That's right.
He said that number, and then that's the number he ends up signing for, which is why it almost feels like to me like that was out there. Like Garrett knew I can get that at any time from the Browns.
Yep.
So I don't know. Like I'm like the way we went through the Eichel thing here, and how when other star players around sports get a trade request, and it's like it's just one other example of you don't really have to trade the guy. I don't know that it would ever go this well where it ends this quickly. Like more times than not, it's probably going to be uglier than it just was with Cleveland. But you can get the guy back.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out that happened with Ayuk as well.
Yeah, and Debo.
Right.
That I understand it happened a couple
times. This was
times.
a point we made with Diggs, who the report was he requested a trade and whatever. Like that, if that needed to end, that's fine. But just because someone requests a trade or talks to other teams, yeah, it is. I made a comparison, a metaphor about marriage and how, or whatever, like they broke up, the Browns and Garrett. The reality is, you ask for a trade, it's just a lever, it's just a tool. And he doesn't want to be here. Like sure, whatever. Here's a contract. He's fine.
Yeah.
He'll be. DK Metcalf wanted warm weather. But he got Pittsburgh, right?
Right. That's right.
He got Pittsburgh. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Sometimes we need to treat these contract demands not as, it's going to be a problem if he's there. He'll be a cancer. What are they going to do? It's pro sports. He's going to sign a contract and he's going to play. So 803-0550 is our phone number. Garrett stays in Cleveland. Speculation on sending 2 firsts or Rousseau or whatever. Rousseau resigns.
Rousseau resigns, by the way. Wonder if Bean... No, the Mary Kay Cabot from Cleveland.com report was that Garrett had a change of heart in the last 30. It was from the time he signed, the last 36 hours, that he and his agent, in the 36 hours before he signed, had a change of heart and said, we'll start talking to the Browns, and they got a deal done. So does Bean signs Rousseau in then that 36 hours?
That's
Maybe
right.
It's a complete coincidence, or, we had talked about it this way, that if Garrett was on the table for them, are you going to want to pay Greg Rousseau $20+ million a year on top of, it would have cost them 35+ at least, I think, to get Garrett. And that was always, you might not want to give that much money to both ends. And does Bean find out the Garrett trade is completely dead, so let me go pay Greg Rousseau?
Maybe. I wonder, as Andrew Berry throughout that process said, there was a report that he laughed at some offers.
Yes, yeah.
Could Bean even get to a point where there's a conversation about here's what we are willing to offer? Because if Barry had held as firm as he did to get him done, let's say that Bean or any other GM gets an offer in to Barry.
Yeah.
Then if you're Garrett and you really do want out, you leak that.
Yeah.
And if you're Myles Garrett, you think, all right, I'm getting close. They're getting offers.
Yeah.
And the offers, now they're being discussed. Instead, that never really went anywhere. It was speculation. Right. Think of the difference between Garrett and Metcalf. Metcalf, the report was first and a third and $30 million. And then 3 days later it was second-round pick and $30 million. And then an hour later it was like, gone.
Steelers like, all right,
gone.
Buy now price.
Right, second and $30 million. With Garrett, we never got one offer. We never got any reporting about who was willing to offer what. It was just speculation. We think the Bills. We think the Commanders. These teams might want to do this. We think the Eagles could do it. So I don't know that's related. The other thing about Rousseau signing is he gets about, half as much as Garrett?
Yep.
Which is probably right. Is that?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Rousseau resigns, and the order of the Bills and the guys that they're checking off boxes to me makes a lot of sense. We had discussed whatever. There's money, there's position, there's a lot of things, but Shakir and Bernard, they had to be resigned because next year they could go to the open market and you wouldn't franchise tag them. Okay, those are done. There's a little bit of a pressure to do that. And then on Friday we talked who's the next one up, and the thought was Rousseau. Because Rousseau is the only one that gives you cap relief this year. If they extend Benford, they get no relief this year, really. He makes nothing. Same with Cook. Right. There's really no reason to do it. With Rousseau, he's about to play on a fifth-year option. You can probably create $10 million by extending Rousseau. And we know they needed to create that room, so we still haven't found out how much it is. But that makes sense. So Rousseau gets done, and now you're on to whatever the next order of business is. Will that be Benford or Cook, or will they wait on both of them? We are watching them lock up their new core. These pieces, Shakir, Bernard, Rousseau, another one, if you add Benford there, I mean, that's 4 core pieces locked up in one offseason. That's a lot.
Yep, they like to pay guys early, right?
As they should.
Benford's cap at this year is $3.3 million. So,
I mean, creating more space off that, just not a lot.
The reason to do it now would be cap's going to go up again next year, so his market value right now on your deal might be like 17.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing a number out there. If it's 17 million this year, maybe you think it's 22 next year.
Yeah, I think I saw a breakdown of defensive backs. Might have been Ryan Talbot. Apologies if it wasn't, but Ryan usually does good work like this. That the corners that have 20 million or more in salary, they all have an All-Pro, or they have some serious
accolades,
resume builders. And while Benford is pretty much thought of as really good, he does not have that recognition yet. So it wouldn't be shocking at all to see Benford come in at 17, 18, 19. Right. You know, with the escalation of the cap, it could be higher. But
he did get one Defensive Player of the Year vote.
That helps,
but only one. Right. So yeah, he's not set the market on the corners guy.
Yep.
At least I wouldn't expect.
Who do you think is? This is like a topic for today, tomorrow, moving forward. Who's the number one name you want right now? Now that the names we know are gone.
I think it's doesn't it have to be Hendrickson right now? Who's even the top contender to answering that question with Trey Hendrickson, the guy who led the league in sacks last year?
You might want Josh Sweat instead because it won't cost you money, or rather, it won't cost you draft capital.
Yeah.
You might want Sweat. You might want Milton Williams, a defensive tackle. You might want...
Yep. Jonathan Allen. Maybe.
Okay, sure.
There's not really a receiver idea right now that competes with these guys.
No, there's decent ideas, and there might be some more trade ideas.
Yeah.
But at receiver, I mean, you're talking Darius Slayton, you're talking Diami Brown,
yep.
Josh Palmer.
Sweat's a good player. Hendrickson, to me, is like an elite player, though.
Yeah.
And that is where I'd like to see the Bills live more in. Like, Sweat would be... I'll be completely happy if that's the move they make. Like, that's the number one defensive end probably on the market. But he's kind of more of what I have, which, again, is fine. Like, I've a really good player. He's a really good player. But he is not, conversation for the best defensive end in football. And that is, like, Hendrickson is maybe not as good as Garrett, but... His sack numbers are, and all like the underlying pass rush numbers are just behind the Parsons Garrett class. Like he's in that class, really. So yeah, Hendrickson's an elite player to me, and Sweat's just a really good one.
We have details on the Rousseau deal. The Bills will save $8 million in cap space this year on Rousseau.
Okay, so that would be a $5 million cap hit roughly. Then
5.8.
Okay,
$49 million guaranteed. There is a void year in 2030.
All right.
One void year, which that's what I'm looking for, is as many of those as possible. Not just a single, but like, stupid void years. Let's go to absurd
5
levels.
of them.
Yes. Anyway, one for Rousseau. But so they save $8 million in cap by extending Rousseau this year.
Okay.
Which is standard to extend a guy and save money. But that's what they needed to do. So all right, Rousseau.
So they cleared out $16 million with 2 defensive end moves this weekend.
Yes.
Because they saved 8.3 for Vaughn, cutting Vaughn.
Yep.
All right.
And they probably would. We'll see what they save on Josh's number, because I would imagine they save money.
Oh, that'll be a huge number, I bet.
803-0550. Sal on the other, Sal at the top of the hour. Give us a call. Who's the name now? We're about to get into free agency, legal tampering. Yesterday was a fast and furious day of movement in the NFL. It felt crazy. Head on a swivel. So many different things. We haven't even gotten to half of them. Jeremy and Joe, you can give us a ring. Happy Monday. Daylight savings is upon us. I heard you guys grousing about it being dark early.
Yeah. I like the sun coming up early.
What are you talking about? We no longer live in a nuclear winter where it gets dark at 6 p.m. Enjoy the evenings.
Yeah, fine. I don't mind the dark at night, though. I want the sun up now.
Oh my God, this is terrible. This is the way to live. This is how we should live.
In the dark?
In the morning, yes. Nobody needs light. Farmers, you guys are fine. We invented lights. That makes sense.
You could have that at night.
No, who wants that? 803-0550. Jeremy and Joe on WGR. Nice day yesterday. Sun
Very
out.
nice.
It was
Very
cold,
nice.
but, sun was out. And I saw a few people out, Joe, that like golf. They love to golf more than I do because there's Delaware Park. The golf course is not open. And there are a couple guys out there swinging golf clubs in 50-mile-an-hour winds at 40 degrees. And I respect it.
Yeah.
I love to golf, but not enough to play in 50-mile-an-hour winds without flags.
Yeah, no.
Just on an open pasture.
Right without holes, too, right?
Yeah, nothing.
The way golf was meant to be played.
Yeah.
Just landed on the green.
That might be true. Anyway. Jeremy and Joe, good morning. News, another Bills idea that maybe has gone away. Defensive tackle DJ Jones, the Broncos, 13 per year per source. Looks like he'll stay in Denver. That was a name I'd learned and heard as a good idea for a big defensive tackle the Bills could have pursued, but it looks like he'll stay in Denver. It is not a great free agent class.
No.
Yeah, not a great free agent class. And the draft class also seems to be, loaded on defensive linemen.
Yeah.
But other than that, we'll see.
No Mac Hollins signing yet, huh?
Yeah, no Mac
They
Hollins signing
could
yet.
do that at any time.
They could, that's right.
I haven't seen anything.
How shocked would Bill
Sheldon
Mafia?
Rankings back to Texans, by the way, with $7 million. That's another defensive tackle off the market.
There's a good chunk of Bills Mafia that if Mac Hollins leaves is about to be dropped to their knees. They could not believe it. Would be the most shocking news of their life. I might be among them.
It shouldn't be that shocking.
It would be
if he were to leave. I mean, sure, I would predict he stays, but
yeah. All right, we got to get a break in. We'll get Sal and see what he thinks if that's coming. The Bills have saved a bunch of cap space with some moves. We'll run through them all with Sal coming up next here on WGR. Jeremy White here for Atwell Eye Care. They're online at atwelleye.com, and they have an event coming up Friday. That's right. On Friday, you can attend their next event. It's a cataract lunch and learn. It's going to be at Iliad Apollo's in Blaisdell. A chance for you to get information on helping your eyes if you're going through the process of, natural aging like a lot of us are. Cataracts are part of the natural aging process, and Atwell can cover you with a customized procedure, give you surgery options that fit you and fit your lifestyle. So it's a chance to get the answers you need. Register at Atwell Eye Care for information and to reserve your spot at Iliad Apollo's Friday the 14th. Dr. A.J. Gerongle will be there to answer all your questions. You ask what you need, get your answers, and grab something to eat and find out how cataract surgery can help you see the 716 more clearly. Stop procrastinating. Register today at atwelleye.com. That's atwelleye.com for Atwell Eye Care's next event, Friday the 14th. Atwell Eye Care, official eye care provider of the Buffalo Bills, and the eye care I trust for my family.
A ton happening in the NFL over the weekend, and there was a chunk of it that was from the Bills. Josh Allen signing a new 6-year, $330 million contract with the Bills that includes a league record $250 million guaranteed, adding 2 years to his previous deal. Greg Rousseau signs for 4 years, $80 million. $54 million of that is guaranteed. And that lowers his cap hit by about $8 million in 2025. The Bills also saving roughly $8 million in cap space by releasing Von Miller over the weekend. His tenure for the Bills is done for now with 3 years gone in his Bills career. There was attached to the report of him being released, though, that both sides are open to him coming back to the Bills. Elsewhere around the NFL, Myles Garrett signs in Cleveland, $40 million per year, so the Garrett sweepstakes never really got going. Devontae Adams to the Rams on a 2-year contract. DK Metcalf to the Steelers, a second-round pick to trade for to Seattle, and then Pittsburgh signs Metcalf to a $30 million per year contract over 5 years. In hockey, the Sabres are back in action tonight against Edmonton, a 7 o'clock puck drop. Josh Norris making his Sabre debut on Saturday in a shutout loss to Florida after getting traded for Dylan Cousins at the Friday deadline. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of business.
It's Sal Capaccio.
Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio.
On WGR.
All right, Sal Capaccio joining us. Sal, we need to get right to business. We have so many things to break down. How was your weekend? It was fast and furious with the Bills contract extensions, the NFL league news. It was head on a swivel Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everything was happening very, very quickly. We had Khalil Shakir, Terrell Bernard, and then, bam, Greg Rousseau happens, Von Miller happens, and then late last night, Josh Allen happens. And honestly, like, it happened 10 minutes before a planned podcast with me and Matt Bove. And we're like, oh, my God, this is great because if we had recorded a while ago, you guys know how this works, right? You get off the air and something happens, it's way different. So just letting everybody know, we have instant reaction up. The podcast is up. We recorded it late last night. People can find that on the Odyssey app, iTunes, Spotify, Sal Sports on YouTube. You want to watch it, but everything was done, and bam, we went right at it. So here to talk about it this morning. The Greg Rousseau numbers are coming in this morning as well.
Don't forget Reed Ferguson.
That's right, and I should
Yes.
Reed Ferguson, and that's right. That's a big one, and part of the reason I forget, as you say, is he was actually not a guy they extended, who was going into the final year of all those groups that we talked about. He was actually going to be a free agent. However, I think all of us expected Reed to come back. It would have been a stunner if Reed didn't come back, but you're right about that. Reed's back, and good for Reed. I think Reed now, he's set up basically to play a very long time in only one uniform and retire a Buffalo Bill if everything goes right over the next 4 years, right? Which is great for him.
Yep.
He is the only player on the team now that actually spans pre-McDermott Bean. He was here during the Rex Ryan regime. He's still here, and he's going to be here for 4 more years. Congratulations to him.
Well, from the longest tenured Bill to a man that might at some point be the longest tenured Bill, Josh Allen, a contract extension for him, Sal. They add 2 years on. We're starting to see numbers. We've seen that Rousseau creates about $7.5–8 million in cap space. And Allen, we don't know the number yet. We just know it's a big, huge extension, lots of money. It's the kind of thing where I don't know the Bills fans are shocked. It's a day to celebrate because every day to remember you have Josh Allen and you're living in that world is a day to feel good about the Bills. So not a surprise, but still big news.
For sure. Let's just start with the player and the situation. It is great to have the league MVP playing on your favorite team. For Bills fans, of course, it's pretty cool, but he's also really awesome at what he does, and he gives you a chance to win every year, of course. And as you just point out, like, that's just so comforting and awesome to know for every Bills fan out there. And now he's here for, and there was not a doubt he wasn't going to be here for a while longer. He had 4 years remaining on his deal. He's going to be here for at least 6 more years. And just knowing that he's the guy steering the ship, that they're still trying to win while he's in this window, and I believe that's the case. That's why the Bills are making these moves now. That's why you're seeing Von Miller get released now instead of June 1st and saving money, which we can get into right now to open up some cap space so they can make some moves. I believe the Bills they're they're going to keep trying to win as long as they have Josh Allen. And I think that's a great sign for Bills fans and great news for Bills fans, of course. So, yeah, no doubt about that. And then you look at the actual numbers. I mean, wow. It's a record-setting contract, $250 million guaranteed. No one's ever had $250 guaranteed before. That's the record-setting part. The other part of it, though, is pretty interesting, which is if you take the $330 and you spread it out, he's only making $55 million only. He's making $55 million a year, which is not a record. He's basically having a bit of a lower average per salary. And my guess is Josh Allen and the Bills got together and said, look, we want to make sure that you are taken care of. And Josh said, yeah, and I want to make sure that we can still have the ability to sign more players and do what we have to do going forward. He could have probably said, okay, well, I don't want to sign until I'm the highest in every single category, every single way. That would hamstring the Bills. That's not the case here. Yes, it's a lot of money. It represents less than 20% of the Bills' salary cap, which is actually, I believe I read 13th in the league for NFL quarterbacks right now, which is amazing.
Yep.
Right? I mean, like, you think about the fact that he signed this record deal, and yet he's still not counting nearly as much as a lot of quarterbacks are on their salary cap. And just so everybody's clear, it is a brand new deal. It is not a 6-year extension on top of the 4 years. He's not under contract for 10 more years. Like, let's say Greg Rousseau, he signed a 4-year extension. Terrell Bernard, 4-year extension. They're going to add that onto the last year of the deal, so they have 5 more years. For Josh, it is a brand new deal. No more 4 years. It's 6 years starting this year. And what they did was, I'm quite sure, we don't have the numbers yet, they're going to lower that salary cap from $44 million is what he was due in a cap this year. With the money they're going to give him in the brand new deal, I'm quite sure we're going to see something that's a lot lower for this year, and then it'll spike, going forward, and that will obviously help the Bills, this offseason.
Right. I would guess it gets cut in half at least, like into the 20s area. And we'll see about void years and that kind of stuff. So we see the Rousseau deal has a void year in 2030. And, we'll get an idea of what the Bills are wanting to do, how aggressive they're trying to be. They're locking up core pieces. Allen, of course, is the least controversial of anybody to lock up. So good to get that done. He's on his bachelor party playing these exclusive courses and also signing for $250 million guaranteed. Life is good if you're Josh Allen, so that's good.
Yeah, for sure. And we were just talking, Matt and I were talking last night, like, I don't know if this means Josh comes to town to sign the deal, or is he going to, are they going to FedEx it to him when he signs it? I really don't know how this is going to work, because we have heard, we have heard from Khalil Shakir and Reed Ferguson and Greg Rousseau from right here in Buffalo at the facility. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, if Josh and Tom, but I don't know yet. We haven't heard anything yet. And you're right, Jer, he had his bachelor party recently. We saw that. He's obviously getting married at some point soon here. So it's a pretty good year to be Josh Allen. He just won MVP as well, obviously.
All right, next up, Rousseau. We'll hit the Bills targets, and then we'll get on to the rest of the league stuff. Next up, Gregory Rousseau, contract extension for him. Also not a surprise, Sal, because they like Rousseau. He's a nice player, and this was another opportunity to lower a cap hit to kind of get involved this offseason.
This was always, as I've said to you guys, the kind of easiest one to do from the financial standpoint to clear space. The only question would be, are you comfortable giving Greg Rousseau $20 million or more per season? I've heard from a lot of fans who said they're not comfortable with that. They don't like that. He doesn't have double-digit sacks. But look, I think Greg Rousseau's a really, really good player. I think he does not more than just sacks. But obviously he's been a part of a defensive line that has not performed its best in the biggest of moments. He addressed that when he's with the media yesterday as well. But this is a deal that allows the Bills to keep a guy who, by the way, I mean, remember we used to talk about Tremaine Edmonds like this. Greg Rousseau is still 24 years old. He's turning 25 actually next month. He's still very young. He's good at what he does. And this is a deal that another year down the road, if you had a great year and you want to re-sign him, you're talking a lot more than probably what he signed for, here. The Bills as Jason, what's his name? I'm trying to think of his last name. I don't know his last name. Jason from Over the Cap is his name. It's Jason OTC on Twitter. Yeah. He pointed out last night, guys, he said the Bills are the most proactive team this offseason. This is what the Bills are doing. They're identifying their core. They're locking them up long term, and Greg Rousseau is one of their core. So what does it look like? Well, SpotTrack has the numbers, just came out. Our guy Mike Giannetti, I just retweeted him, and I added some color to this, which is his cap hit goes from $13.3 million this year to $5.8. They're saving $7.5 million this year, roughly $7.5 million. Next year, This cap hit is only still $11.8 million. It's not until 2027 where it gets over $20 million. So, I understand fans who say that he doesn't get these numbers or whatever, but look around the league, man. Look at what some of these guys are going to go for. Watch what Josh Sweat probably comes in at. And I know he had a really big year this year. He hasn't been an amazing guy in sacks. He was better this year. He's also 3 years older than Greg Rousseau. Let's see where his number comes in. Let's see where some of these defensive ends come in. I bet you over the next week or so, a lot of people are going to look at Greg Rousseau's contract and go, holy cow, I can't believe the Bills got him for $20 million a year looking at some of these other guys and what they're signing for.
Right. You'd rather be living the life the Bills are, which is, we've talked about their need for elite players and difference makers, but there are teams, the Patriots just kind of did this yesterday, didn't they, with Harold Landry, where you're getting average players, subpar players even sometimes, and you have to pay them huge sums of money to come there versus the Bills. Sure, Rousseau, it's a lot, but it's 11th in the league. Okay, so the criticism of he doesn't get as many sacks as those guys is fair. He's also not getting paid as much as Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby and the guys that get 16 sacks a year. So really, and that's been a theme, right? Even beyond Allen, Sal, if Benford comes in at some point this offseason or not, with Bernard, with Shakir, the Bills aren't, setting the market with any of these players' extensions.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. The only one I think that, we've been kind of thinking about that with is Christian Benford. I mean, that's still out there. We don't know what they're going to do with Benford. He's going into the final year of his deal as well. But you're right, Joe. They're not setting the market. They're getting ahead of it. They're saying, we're identifying these guys. We want to settle in now because we're going to get good deals. And as we go down the road here, these guys would cost a lot more. And my response a lot of times to Bills fans is this as well. If you think, I can't believe they paid $20 million for Greg Rousseau. Well, if you let Greg Rousseau walk, first of all, you could let him play out his $13 million, 50-year option. Then you're really hurting yourself for this year. You're going to really hurt the ability to try and sign guys this year. That's number one that's going to happen. Number two is who are you going to replace them with? Because if your idea is, well, they don't have enough really elite players, well, guess what? It's going to cost a lot more to sign an elite player, and they don't come along very often. Or you're going to replace them with somebody who's not as good. So you have to look at it from a lot of different standpoints and a lot of different angles as well. And you're right about that, Joe. So we'll see if they do anything with Christian Benford. Of course, James Cook out there as well. And then today at noon is when teams can start talking to the agents of pending free agents of other clubs.
Sal Capaccio joining us on the Western Hotline as the league year begins and the legal tampering period is underway. So Rousseau, Bernard, Shakir. Next up, Sal, Benford, Cook. We could throw Mac Hollins in here or Amari Cooper because they are unrestricted free agents, but the Bills are far from done.
Ty Johnson,
sure. Do you have a feel for? Let's start with Bernard and Cook because those two are not unrestricted free agents.
Benford and Cook.
Benford and Cook. Do you think? Would you expect to see another one kind of lined up, knock it down? Because again, if they're a proactive franchise, you could sign Christian Benford. It wouldn't be one that saves a ton of money on the cap this year, but you could lock in a player you think is really good and probably have that looking like a reasonable deal because you were once again proactive on it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the question we don't know is, what does Christian Benford's side think? Right? Does Christian Benford feel, hey, I'm really good. I had an ascension last year. I want to get paid amongst the best corners in the league. And if that's the case, are the Bills willing to do something like that right now? And my guess would be maybe not. They really like him, but hey, you know what? We can ride this out and we can see what happens, and we can always franchise tag you if that's the case. Now, maybe I wouldn't doubt the Bills are interested in re-signing him, being proactive, approaching him now, but we don't know what his side thinks. We do know what James Cook's side thinks, right? And I think that's been the holdup, which is he wants $15 million a year. That's what he's been talking about. And I've always believed the Bills are just not going to pay James Cook $15 million a year. Does that mean it has to come in like that? No. Look, I'll be honest. I was surprised about the Myles Garrett news yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. You never know when something just says, okay, they agreed to something and he had a change of mind, a change of heart because look at this situation. That can always happen at any point. It would never shock me, to be honest with you. But we know what James Cook's side is at least saying he wants, and I just have a belief the Bills are not interested in paying that money. The Bills could literally let James Cook, unless he makes it messy and he doesn't play. Of course, that's a different scenario. They could let him play out the final year of his deal. They could franchise tag him for basically less than what he's asking for. The franchise tag this year for running backs is $13 million. So they could do that. We don't know what Christian Benford's side wants, and I think that's, it's always good, though, when you're kind of just in the weeds. You don't know. Maybe something pops up. But I think that's probably where you're where the issue might be because the corner market is very tricky to gauge.
Also, this weekend, Sal, the Von Miller release. Are you buying at all? The cap move never seemed surprising at all, saving over 8. Are you buying at all the idea that was kind of out there in all the tweets about him being cut, that both sides being open to a return, like that could actually come to fruition?
Here's what I think happened. When Von gets released, you see every one of the people reporting on it has the same wording at the end, right? Which is both sides are open to a reunion. And I'm sure that's the case, whereas it's, hey, we got to make this happen. What do we all say, guys? They have to do something with Von's contract. Whether it's a release or it's a restructure, they can't live with him at the $23+ million cap number. So they probably had this big discussion, and Von's made it clear he'd love to stay in Buffalo, but he knew that something had to be done with his contract. They probably had this discussion where they're like, look, we have to do this. And he understood and said, we'd love to have you back. And if you go out there and test the market and there's something you're comfortable with, that's great. Congratulations. If not, come on back and we can sign some sort of, much more minimum type of deal. Here's the issue, okay, with all of that. Von Miller's going to count right now $15 million on the Bills' salary cap by not being on the team. That's dead cap money. Mm-hmm. Even if he came back to the Bills for, let's say, $3 million, you're still counting the 15. That's weird. That is 100%. That is happening. You're getting 15 mil. It's not like you erased that $15 million. So whatever he would sign for would just be added onto it. They were not comfortable with him at 23. So you kind of have to say, okay, well, we know that they're not going to re-sign him for $8 or $7 million coming back. Right. Would it be 3? Would it be 4? You'd still save some money, but you're counting $15 million either way he's on the roster or not, plus whatever he were to sign.
Right. Yeah. The way that discussion could have gone is, hey, like we'd like to have you at 3. So basically, we need to work your contract out so that we save $5 million. And maybe Von thinks he can get more than $3 million on the open market, or 3 or 4, or whatever the number the Bills would want.
Yeah. So and maybe they're open to it. I thought the timing of it all, because Von very much could have been one of these candidates that was given permission to seek a trade or something. Like, that language has been used a million times in the last week.
And the guy just gets cut usually.
Yeah, and the fact that it went this long into the game, that speaks to me that they at least were trying to do something, and maybe it can't be done, and they're gonna be friendly about it, because that's another thing about the Bills. I always want to point out that Brandon Beane and the Bills, the way they run their show, they do not burn bridges for the most part.
No.
It's very rare. So, guy leaves, they're going to say nice things, and sure, we'd be open to a return because they're gracious and they are professionals in this. And, I think that has value.
Yeah, and we know the relationship Von has with the team, and especially Brandon Beane. Von has made it clear he wants to be an NFL general manager someday. He's shadowed Brandon Beane at the Combine. He talks to him a lot about these kinds of things. They have a very, very good working professional relationship. We know what the Bills feel about him as a player on this team, what he meant to the locker room, what he still would mean to the locker room, the young guys coming in. So I'm interested to see what happens here. Von is always he has so much love in his heart for the Denver Broncos. I don't know if that's something the Broncos would want to do. It would never shock me if we saw, that the Broncos and Von Miller are reuniting in some capacity, right? I mean, that's something that could be out there. I don't know, but it's just the way it feels. But otherwise, we'll see. Maybe he does look out and nobody really wants to pay him, and he says, hey, I want to come back to Buffalo on a $3 million deal or something.
Yeah. How about Myles Garrett, Sal?
Yeah. I mean, I'm stunned. I shouldn't say that. I was very surprised when it happened. You're never stunned or shocked when something really happens in the NFL these days when it comes to money. But, when there were so many people going, oh, what a surprise, no way. We all knew this was going to happen. I really thought this was going to get bad. I thought either A, he was going to get traded, or he was going to make it very, ugly for them. So for all of a sudden that to show up yesterday, I was surprised. And obviously, for all the talk we've had here, and it carried us for a while, which was nice. Now Max Crosby off the board. Now Myles Garrett off the board. Guys are flying off the board. For all the talk that we had, it would have been nice to do something like that. Holy cow, guys, $40 million a year. He's their Josh Allen. That's what he is. I mean, he doesn't touch the ball every play, but he is one of the best players in the NFL. He's certainly a future Hall of Famer. He's still maybe the best defensive player in the league. So I get why they would want to keep him. But, wow, that is a lot of money for a non-quarterback and a defensive player.
How good an idea do you think Trey Hendrickson is in comparison? Because is he now the automatic number one dream idea if a Bills fan's trying to get an elite pass rusher here?
Sure. I mean, if you really want an elite pass rusher, I think that would be the next guy up where you'd want. I mean, this guy has hit 17 and a half sacks each of the last 2 years, by the way, guys, right? I mean, he's incredible at what he does. Look at that money, though, that Myles Garrett just signed for. Look at what Max Crosby signed for. Are the Bills willing to be able to play in that pool? I'm not really sure that they'd be able to be quite honest. Maybe they find, look, there's always a way. They signed Von Miller a couple years ago to $120 million when we were told that they wouldn't be able to really go out and sign a lot of guys or have a lot of money. So, yeah, sure, that would be something that would be great for the Bills, but I just don't know if you're going to be able to, pay him the kind of money he's going to command on the open market.
All right. Who do we forget? Mac Hollins?
Devontae Adams.
Devontae
Adams is gone.
How about DK Metcalf?
Yeah, DK Metcalf to Pittsburgh. It is big money for Metcalf.
There is, by the way, Pittsburgh. There's a Pittsburgh Aaron Rodgers report from Schefter in the last 7 minutes. So,
Listen, Rodgers, Pickens, Metcalf, Tomlin.
Put a camera on that locker room.
I just want to. The number one thing I always want to say about this is maybe someday Mike Tomlin will lose the reputation for always running the tightest ship, because Pittsburgh loves to get these receivers that might be a little bit fiery and then get mad about the fact that they're fiery. Like, I'm good with that. I don't care. But Pittsburgh, it's just always toxic relationships with their own receivers. And if they add Rodgers to the mix, it might even get worse. Like, who knows?
Yeah, it's really interesting. You're right, though, Joe. Let's do Hard Knocks with the Steelers if that happens, right?
Yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be a little that'd be pretty fun. So today, just to give everybody a little bit of the mechanics of how everything's working here now. So today at noon is when what they call legal tampering period opens. That's because teams can call the agents of pending free agents. Now, the Bills can go out and sign their own free agents at any time, like they have already. They can re-sign a Mac Hollins. They can re-sign a Ty Johnson. These are the guys going to free agency today. But other teams can't call their agents or talk to them until noon today. We all know how this works. Things start happening and people start talking at the combine, and word gets out. So that's why you're going to see deals get reported pretty early here. That's at noon today. Starting on Wednesday at 4 p.m. is when the teams can actually talk to the player, bring him to the facility, take a physical, sign the player. They can't have contact with the player before then. And oh, by the way, I want to report, guys, this does feel like the Mario Williams type weather year. I mean, this is a great time to bring a guy to the facility.
Right.
This is going to be like 60-something degrees later this week, right? You want to bring somebody to Buffalo and show them how great it is in March? This is a great year to do it.
Yeah.
Is today when we... I'm trying to remember how this usually gets reported. Is today when we get the
compensatory picks?
No, not that, but we get reports of this team and this player have agreed in principle to.
Yes,
but even though they're not supposed to talk money, right? I forget how it goes.
No, they can talk money.
They can talk money. Okay,
that's exactly.
Okay.
Starting at noon today, the agent can negotiate whatever he wants for the player. Okay. They just can't talk to the player himself.
So we will see, almost undoubtedly, with at least some players, we're going to see today, this team and this player are going to sign on Wednesday.
Yes, and let's remember, we have had over the years, didn't this happen with Anthony Barr? We have had over the years, a player agrees with a team, but come Wednesday... I mean, it's like college right now, where a kid says, "I'm going to your school," and then he gets a school continues to recruit him and says, "No, we still want you to come here." Right? That can happen. It's rare, but it does happen where a player agrees to go join a team, and then he actually signs with another team because word gets out, and the other team continues to recruit him, so to speak. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Sal. Have your phone ready. Don't turn it on silent. Yeah. It's a busy week, and we've got lots to get to as it goes.
Yeah, it is, and obviously with the Sabres trade as well, we'll be on top of that. We have the great Bruce Garrioch joining me on Extra Point Show today to talk about the Dylan Cousins for Josh Norris trade. So we'll do it all today. Sabres trade from Friday, Bills, obviously what's happening over the weekend and heading into Wednesday.
All right. Thank you, Sal.
You got it, guys.
Sal Capaccio on the Western Hotline. He'll be busy these next couple days. Who's out there? Who's available? A lot of teams locking things up. There's just a Patriots trade. They traded a defensive tackle to the Saints for a 7th-round pick. So, a lot
three defensive tackle moves this morning.
Yeah.
2 signings and a trade.
A lot of movement. And free agency, it's pretty dry. You're going to see players get overpaid by a lot because the free agency market appears to be kind of thin. Although defensive tackle, I would expect the Bills to be in on some players today in the next couple of days. And, of course, we'll find out what kind of cap space they have on the Josh Allen extension. 803-0550, our phone number. The chat is rolling on YouTube. 295 watching. Is that our biggest number ever? It is. We got
Watching live?
295 watching on the stream.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? It's they're waiting for the Bills to sign somebody. You know how big that number would have been if they had traded for Myles Garrett? Be like, everybody in America.
Oh, it'd be
Maybe not. But
would it be 1,000
it'd be huge.
at least?
If you're out there listening, you can give us a call. Lots of things to choose from. It's a buffet. Vaughn, Rousseau, Josh, DK Metcalf, Myles Garrett, trade ideas.
The other Josh.
I mean,
Josh Norris.
Yes,
The other
Josh Norris, who made his Sabres debut. Dylan Cousins. There's lots and lots to catch up on. We'll continue to do it. 803-0550 on WGR. Jeremy White here for FanDuel Sportsbook, official partner of WGR. When it comes to FanDuel, it's, welcome to March, And for March, they're offering a dog of the day, an underdog of the day. FanDuel is bringing you Dog of the Day Profit Boost Token. One of the best parts about the tourney is when an underdog takes down a powerhouse. And right now, upsets can get even better because if your underdog bet wins, you land even more winnings with a profit boost. So whichever tournament it is, it's your chance to ride with long shots, the scrappy teams, and the ones that shock the world. So go to FanDuel Sportsbook.com/white. If you've been waiting to join, there's no better time. The app is easy to use. When you win, you'll get paid instantly. Visit FanDuel.com/white to download America's #1 sportsbook today and back the dog of the day with a profit boost because anything can happen in March. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First opt-in required. Wager of at least plus 100 odds required to be an underdog. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
Lots of action in the NFL over the weekend. Josh Allen signs a new 6-year, $330 million contract with the Bills, including a league record $250 million guaranteed. It's not an extension, but it adds 2 years to his previous contract, adds more money for Allen, and saves the Bills' cap space in 2025. Greg Rousseau signs for 4 years, $80 million, $54 million guaranteed. That'll shave about $8 million off the Bills' cap this year. They also save about $8 million by releasing Von Miller. All the reporting over the weekend was that Von and the Bills are open to a return at some point. Also, Reed Ferguson signing a 4-year contract. He is now the highest paid long snapper in the NFL. Myles Garrett staying in Cleveland, a giant new contract, $40 million per year. Gets him to take back his trade request and commit to Cleveland. Davante Adams goes to the Rams on a 2-year deal. DK Metcalf to the Steelers, traded for a second-round pick and then a $30 million contract per season. Sabres in action tonight, 7 o'clock against McDavid and the Oilers at KeyBank Center. We'll have pregame starting at 6 here on WGR. Those are your Paddock Chevrolet sports headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of business.
I feel like with every single year, I feel like I've gotten better and the game slowed down just a little bit. So I'm just going to keep on trying to just get better day in, day out, year in and year out, and see how far I can take it. But I'm excited for the future, and I know I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm excited just to try to reach that pinnacle and that mountaintop of what I could become as a player in the future.
Gregory Rousseau, new contract extension with the Bills. You know, as the Bills were making these moves, there was some rumored Kyer Elam trade talk. Did you see a little bit of that on the weekend?
Yep.
And I thought, man, Brandon Beane does a lot of things that are pretty smart. But what would be smarter than trading Elam while signing other players you've drafted to big, long extensions? You know, headline, Rousseau, Bernard, Shakir.
Yeah.
They're all locking everybody up. Elam, what? Who? Now he's gone. Anyway, he's not been traded.
No, although they kind of need to do that.
Yes.
He has a $4.3 million cap hit. They save by cutting him 0. They save by trading him 2.5.
Yeah, you know what they should do if they can't find a really good trade? They should offer like Elam and a 6th for a 7th.
Right.
Here, have a corner. Have a depth corner that we can't use.
Yep.
Try to save money. All right, 803-0550. So Garrett gone, Metcalf gone. Other ideas you might have liked? Max Crosby gone, Davante Adams gone. You know, defensive end, defensive tackle. DJ Jones looks like he's re-signing with Denver. So the kind of question we get to today is we spent 2-3 weeks with these pie-in-the-sky ideas that would have been expensive. And now what's the predominant idea? What's the prevailing thought out there, Bills fans? Like, what do you think? Who's the name you want? Maybe it is Trey Hendrickson. We had the chat mention that we are not bringing up T. Higgins. I think that's super unlikely. Both players with the Bengals, by the way, interesting enough. And Hendrickson's probably going to leave because they're going to get T. Higgins done on a deal. And the Bengals are going to pay 2 receivers $70 million, maybe, because the Bengals have already committed to making Chase the highest paid receiver. So that's got to happen.
Yep.
And Higgins is going to come in under that, probably top 5 money, top 10 money.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
I saw a good joke yesterday that the Bengals are going to be blown away when they read about all the Sunday news in the newspaper Monday morning.
That's funny. Well, here we go. Free agency begins Wednesday, start of the league year. We are inside the legal tampering period now, so stuff's going to start to get reported, leaked, whatever. Aaron Rodgers could have a home by the end of the day. Who knows?
Should we be hunting down to a name that isn't available now that could be? Was it a week ago, or maybe was it 8 days ago? When did Metcalf become available? When was the first report that Metcalf wants a trade? Was it last weekend, or was it during the week? It was during the week, wasn't it?
During the week.
Okay, so a week ago, Metcalf isn't available. A week later, he has been traded to Pittsburgh. So can I get 2 guys around the league that are star players that a week ago weren't available that now are? Hendrickson, same thing. 2 weeks ago, Hendrickson's name wasn't the trade name. It was Garrett and Crosby. Now we're sitting here and it's Hendrickson. So it's Geno Smith. Nobody saw that coming.
That's right.
So Hendrickson is the big name available, but it's certainly possible that the Bills or anyone else could trade for like a name player that we don't think is available right now.
Speaking of which, like thinking about all these ideas and all these names, I wonder where Mac Hollins is in this.
Yeah.
Would he have been signed by now? Oh, anyway.
Does he want to see if he's got a market of any? Did he see Tutu Atwell get $10 million and think, I'm as good as Tutu Atwell, do more than Tutu Atwell does?
I just led a team in touchdown catches.
I do that. I play special teams. I'm a veteran presence. Like, hey, Buffalo, loved it here, guys, but
right.
New England wants to give me $9 million a year. I think I'm going to go do that.
Yep.
So I'm just saying, like, if the market is dumb at wide receiver, then that might be how Mac Hollins doesn't come back to the Bills.
Get some calls in. Dennis in Lockport is up. Hey, Dennis, good morning.
Hey, good morning. I'm glad you brought up Matt Hollins. I'd like to see him come back. Guys, what do you think about possibly a Khalil Boza reunion in Buffalo? They're both a little bit older, but they got the experience, and they still are able to play the game.
Yep.
Yeah, Joey Bosa.
I think they're in two different spots. One, Khalil Mack is still a big-time difference maker and a great idea. I think the Bills, of course, would reach out and be interested. And on Bosa, he looks like he might be cooked. He's not. He doesn't play a lot.
He's so injured.
Yeah. I mean, Bosa is going to get a contract somewhere to try to play, but that's not something I would count on at all. I mean, the Bills right now have Epinesa, Rousseau, Smoot.
No, it's free agent. Javon
Solomon. They'll draft at least one. I'm on to 4. I bet they try and sign Mack. I mean, Khalil Mack might be the number one name right now that you go for, right?
Yeah, I think so. And unless, what do they want? Do they want another couple year, veteran 33, 34-year-old, and then we have to do it all over again in 2-3 years? Or do they want to just pay Josh Sweat 5 years and we're good? This is our guy for 5 years.
Yeah.
But because he's what? Is he 27, Josh Sweat? So are they looking for a long-term answer? Or could they even do both? Both might be a lot to ask for, but they're going to sign 2 free agents at least that are going to get solid chunks of change. And right now, we just went through it. If Javon Solomon is the third name we're getting to a defensive end, then honestly, right now, looking around the roster, where are their biggest holes? They don't have many, but where are their biggest holes? Could you answer defensive end is number 1 and number 2?
No, you couldn't answer that.
You could say defensive tackle is number 2.
You could say receiver is number 2. They don't have Mac Hollins or Amari Cooper on the team currently. Even the people that want to run it back, the pieces are not there to run it back. So you could say a lot of things. Ian Hart, it's a fantasy life. I read his piece. The Bills' biggest holes, his number 1, receiver. His number 2, defensive tackle. His number 3 is defensive end.
Because to me, they need 2 defensive ends right now to play when you're rushing the passer. Epinesa is going to play on rundowns, but when it's third down, you need a guy to play where Vaughn did, and then you need another guy that's going to play when either Rousseau comes off or Vaughn's not out there, because you need a rotational. So to me, you need 2 defensive ends. Right, maybe one of them's not above defensive tackle or receiver, but I think they need 2. They probably need 3, really, but 2 meaningful ones at least.
803-0550. Thanks, Dennis, for the phone call. 1-888-550-2550. Free agency in the NFL.
Today's going to be the day where you just refresh Twitter and something new will have happened.
Right.
I think
Rodgers will have a new home.
The quarterback carousel
Darnold.
rumors from this morning are all over. Like Rodgers and the Steelers, Rodgers and the Seahawks,
Rodgers and the Giants,
Fields and the Jets is like growing. There's a lot of steam on that right now.
Darnold and the Steelers, Darnold and the Seahawks. What are the Seahawks doing exactly? Just a full rebuild?
I think we probably don't find out till today. Don't we not? Do we find out what they're doing when we just see who their quarterback move is?
But I mean, to do all this to sign Sam Darnold who else could it be?
That's what I mean. Like they could do nothing, and that's they're starting over.
Right, a rebuild. I mean,
signing Darnold is we're going to try to win with Sam Darnold. I think
Geno Smith is good.
Yeah,
he's good. He's not the best. He's good.
Yeah,
that was a steal for a 3rd-round pick for the Raiders. Geno can play. And
he's a big Steven Ruiz loves Geno, right? Whenever he does his quarterback rankings every year, he's always like way higher than people think.
Geno Smith is good, and Seattle's going to go from that to who knows what.
He is also entering his age 35 season, though.
No,
so like McDonald is probably thinking, I want my long-term guy, He's got 1 year left. So were they about to pay Geno at 35 years old, going into his 36th season? Darnold, it is funny they'd be going from one failed Jets quarterback to another failed Jets quarterback.
Zach Wilson in 5 years.
There's a Zach Wilson rumor this morning with
the Titans. Zach Wilson to the Titans, maybe.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, just one thing for you here, because I mentioned Ian Hartitz on what every team needs. He said the Bills' number one need is receiver, and you've got still a good chunk of Bills fans that point to the Bills scored a lot of points last year. How could they possibly need a receiver? And Ian Hartitz pointed out the Bills last year ranked 27th in the NFL in open score among receivers and tight ends. Josh Allen is lifting the earth on his shoulders in the passing game, and people that watch the NFL think you maybe want to get him a guy that gets open on the outside. And right now, you don't even have any under contract. Got Keon Coleman and Tyrell Shavers, or is he available? What's the depth chart look like right now? I haven't even thought about it.
Who's under contract at wide receiver?
Because we thought we were so locked in.
Outside receiver.
Right, outside receiver. Because we're so locked in on the idea that Mac Hollins is back, and yet he is not yet back. Maybe that happens today.
I'm telling you, though, if he wants to see what's out there in that market, that receiver market might be dumb. Right now at wide receiver, so Shakir is obviously under contract. Curtis Samuel is under contract. Coleman, KJ Hamler, Tyrell Shavers, and Jalen Virgil.
Okay.
So outside, primarily outside, Coleman and Shavers, I think, is it. Yeah. That's it.
All right. 803-0550, 1-888-550-2550. Jeremy and Joe on WGR. Paul at 8:30.
Looking to elevate for Ovechkin. There's an empty net waiting. Alex on the backhand! Point number 1,600 for the grade 8 is an empty net clincher.
The Ovechkin chase moves on. Chasing Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal-scoring record. That's going to happen this month.
Probably. He's 8 from tying, 9 from breaking the record now.
Exciting.
Single digits.
803-0550. Joe has asked if I want trivia, and I'm going to say yes to this. Here's my question.
Instant trivia.
Is there any chance that you run instant trivia, or we do this as a rule, like the New York Times does its crossword, where Monday's easy? You're like, hey,
yeah,
I'm back from the weekend.
Monday's easy.
Don't hit me over the head with something super hard. It's a Monday.
But by the time we get to Friday, it's like...
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I do have a good trivia question.
It's a slog.
I do have a good trivia question. There was a Sabres one, but go ahead.
But it's not a Monday
No.
trivia. Here's some Monday trivia for you. Greg Rousseau signs his contract over the weekend. Since 2000, there are 7 Bills with more sacks than Greg Rousseau. Who are they?
Okay. Since 2000, 7 Bills with more sacks than Gregory Rousseau.
Last 25 years of Bills history, he's 8th with 25.0.
Okay. Mario Williams.
Number 4 with 43. He also did it in 63 games, which is by far the most efficient.
Jerry Hughes.
Jerry Hughes is second, 53 sacks in 144 games.
Aaron Schobel.
Number 1, 78 sacks. Also the all-time leading sacker on Tom Brady.
Kyle Williams.
Number 3, 48.5.
Okay. Those are the easy ones, right?
Yep, you got 1, 2, 3, 4... Yeah, so you're missing 5, 6, 7.
There are 3,
exactly how it should go.
There are 3 more.
Yep. Schobel, Hughes,
what's the number
Williams,
for Rousseau?
25.
So more than 25 sacks. Ooh. I mean, how many more ends here?
1.
One more end.
One more end. Yeah. Do you want the games played?
Is there an obvious answer here?
Here, the games played on the defensive end is 147. He had 32.5 sacks in 147
Chris
games.
Kelsey.
Chris Kelsey. I thought that might give it away. They signed that guy to an extension. He had 32 sacks in 150 games.
Yeah. I mean, I've got all the names right at the top of my head. I just don't want to get them wrong. Right. That's right. I want to keep the streak.
It's not
alive.
about thinking of the names; it's thinking of the right names.
Right.
Because yeah.
Like I'm flirting with a few. Like Lorenzo Alexander had a bunch of sacks in double digits in one season, but I don't think he got to 25. And I've got. Did Marcel Darius get that many? He was a disruptor. Darius
is correct. He's 5th with 35 sacks in 91 games.
All right. So one left.
One left. With 27.
27 sacks.
That's the number.
It's 2000. What position? Edge, tackle, linebacker.
Tackle.
Defensive tackle.
No, the highest linebacker on here is London Fletcher with 14.5.
Defensive tackle.
Jordan Poyer with 11. Look at that. Yeah, defensive tackle.
Okay. Ed Oliver.
Ed Oliver. Right. 27 for Ed Oliver.
Right.
You got the right thought process. Lorenzo Alexander, 24.
Okay.
So he was one below.
In the neighborhood.
And then next after that, Ryan Denny. That's your top 10.
All right. 803-0550, open segment when we return. If you want to react to the Sabres trade of Dylan Cousins, or let's start the NFL league year. All right. Pick yourselves up. You wanted Metcalf, you're heartbroken. You wanted Garrett, you're heartbroken. Who's next? We got to have something to rally around here. We got to have some idea. So we'll give you our best, some of the names out there to watch for today, and get yours as well. 803-0550, Jeremy and Joe, as the league year begins, legal tampering starts. It's a good time. Join us on WGR.
Sneaky Joe DiBiase here for Clinton Collision. Accidents happen. Sometimes it's only a fender bender. Sometimes it could be more of a major collision. Either way, Clinton Collision is where you need to go. I've been there. I trust the guys. They do amazing work. They'll get your car looking brand new no matter how bad the damage is. Plus, they work with all insurance companies. You don't have to worry about that. It's your vehicle. Only you should choose your repair shop. Go somewhere where you can trust my friends at Clinton Collision. Call 716-823-2000, or you can get there on your check out their website, clintoncollision.com, or again, the number, it's 716-823-2000 for Clinton Collision. A lot of NFL news over the weekend, and there'll be more today. It's kind of the unofficial start of free agency. Legal tampering starts at noon, and there's already some reporting and some action this morning. Justin Fields and the Jets are expected to talk today. Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers and the Seahawks has been reported about, and that the Giants are waiting on Rodgers. Noon again today for legal tampering in the NFL. Over the weekend, the Bills signed Josh Allen to a new 6-year, $330 million contract. Allen's contract sets the league record for guaranteed money at $250 million. The only other quarterback ever to have over $150 million guaranteed is Deshaun Watson. So Allen sets the record there. Greg Rousseau, 4 years, $80 million back with the Bills, $54 million guaranteed, and they save $8 million in cap by making that move. They also save $8 million in cap by releasing Von Miller. Elsewhere around the NFL, Myles Garrett is staying in Cleveland for $40 million per year. Devontae Adams to the Rams for a 2-year, $23 million per year deal, and DK Metcalf traded from the Seahawks to the Steelers for a second-round pick, 5 years, $30 million per for Metcalf. The Seahawks also traded Geno Smith away this weekend, third-round pick to the Raiders. Geno Smith will be the Raiders quarterback this year. Sabres in action tonight, 7 o'clock against the Edmonton Oilers and McDavid. We'll have pregame starting at 6 here on WGR. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of business.
It's time for the all-new Let's Make a Deal, starring TV's big dealer,
Brandon Bean
Rolls out to his right to avoid pressure, but Greg Rousseau gets him from behind with an ankle tackle for the sack. As time rolls to his right to buy more, heaves it down the field, and it's intercepted! Picked off by Terrell Bernard! Fakes the throw. Allen going to step up in the pocket. Now he's going to take it and run, and he's got the first down and more. 10, 5, and muscles his way into the end zone for an unbelievable 26-yard touchdown run. Are you kidding me?
You're listening to Jeremy and Joe on the home of the Bills, WGR Sports Radio 550.
Good morning. Deal time. Josh Allen gets a bunch of money. 2-year added on to a deal. It is a new deal, though. Sal pointed that out. It's like It's not 2 years added on to the current deal that he had or the deal that he used to. It was a rip it up and start again 6 years. $250 million guaranteed for Allen, $330 overall. Not bad.
Is it crazy that the fully guaranteed list is that wide where, like, if I can just take Deshaun Watson out for a minute, it's Allen at $250 million, and then second is Burrow at $146 at fully guaranteed upon contract signing. So what did he get for signing a lower per year? He got $100 million more guaranteed than anybody else ever, except for Watson, who's kind of an anomaly.
I tend to think that if you're just a football fan, you don't really have to pay attention to much of this stuff about like who got what.
Yeah,
a lot of the cap stuff. The cap is real. The bill comes due, but it's
less real though if you do the Eagles void year stuff.
It's less real if you do that.
There's tricks to it.
It's also, hey, we're on a strict budget, but that budget includes getting a $50 million boost in cap space every single year.
Right.
And it's not a static cap like the NHL where we're stuck here. You got this deal. There's so much growth every year on the salary cap in the NFL because of revenue. So anyway, all right. So recapping: no Myles Garrett.
Nope.
No DK Metcalf.
Nope.
No Max Crosby.
Nope. No Devontae Adams.
No Devontae Adams. Maybe Trey Hendrickson's still out there.
Yep.
It looks like DJ Jones, if you like the defensive tackle out of Denver, he looks like he's going to re-sign. A lot of teams out there are going to have a lot of money to throw around. The Bills will not be a team that has a lot to throw around, but they'll have some. No Mac Hollins extension yet. No Amari Cooper new contract extension. Cook, Benford.
No Ty Johnson.
No Ty Johnson. Right, you've got
I don't know.
decisions to make here. If you're the Bills, Von's gone. The turnover continues. The core gets locked up. What happens next? I'll start with this. I don't get sticker shock at DK Metcalf, and I would have done it. And we talk receiver a lot, and I get it. Like part of the reason we do is because, well, it's a position that's interesting. And right now, you've kind of laid out the idea of Mac Hollins. What if he did get $8 million a year offered and $9 million a year offered, and decides to leave the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the outside, they're left with Keon Coleman and what? And part of the point about what to do at receiver for Allen is to keep things kind of flush long term. The Steelers, by making this trade for DK Metcalf, it's not a 1-year trade. They signed him to an extension. He's there for 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And whether he's catching passes from Aaron Rodgers this year or whoever next year, the Bills are Mac Hollins decides to take the bag with New England away from all you have on the outside is Keon Coleman, who you are disappointed in.
Right.
And, yeah, Allen did just win the MVP, and, 31 points per game, and they had a great offense, and they did a lot of things that they liked, but they don't have a ton of stability built into their offense right now. The stability is Allen, Shakir, the offensive line.
One of the tight ends, probably. Just don't know which one on a given week.
We might be able to say, you're on the doorstep. Allen just got the big new 6-year deal. Okay, what should the offense look like for that 6 years? Shakir will be here. Who else? Dawson
Dawkins
is how old? Spencer Brown will be here.
Yeah. Dawkins is 30? He'll be fine.
Osiris Torrance will be here. But the rest of it, Cook, we're not so sure about James Cook, what's going to happen with that if they let that play out. So
no idea about the tight ends by that point.
No, I mean, right. The tight ends are here, and we'll see if Kincaid can have a step forward or if Keon Coleman can take a step forward. But it'd be interesting to see. Like, what is free agency? Free agency is overpaying for your misses in the draft. That's really what it is. Teams love to draft and develop. They love to put together the roster through the draft. Everybody wants to. And then you miss on a draft pick, and what are you going to do? You got to go buy something. The free labor you got in the draft, you missed out on Kaiir Elam, so you're going to have to spend money to go get some Rasul Douglas in a trade in that scenario. Or I saw Jonathan Jones of the Patriots. I don't know if you like him as an idea. Looks like he'll get released. Corner, right. You've got ideas, you've got options, but the big blue chip options, which as we talked about it, Metcalf or Garrett or Crosby or Hendrickson, I feel like a lot of Bills fans have an appetite for something big, some blue chipper. What the Bills have is a very good team. What they might need is a couple difference makers, big time, whether that's hitting on one in the draft or signing one in free agency or trading one. You need somebody else to be, I can take over a game, I can take over a series. And right now, it's a little bit of, I don't know where that's coming from. You could just make all your picks and hope somebody hits, and maybe somebody will, but at least we had ideas or possibilities, it seemed. Metcalf, Garrett, Crosby, still Hendrickson, even Devontae Adams for this, as there are big-ticket items you could throw into this mix right now, and I think that is significantly less likely today as it was 48 hours ago.
Yeah, I would probably bet they don't land one. Right? Wouldn't you bet they're not going to land a blue chip guy this offseason? There's just not enough available.
Unless it's in the draft and we just don't know that guy is blue chip until he becomes that guy.
But the equivalent of the Vaughn move, when they made it, it's either Hendrickson or bust kind of for that.
Yeah.
Like even Sweat or Mack, like maybe Mack is closer, but not even, right? Vaughn, what was Vaughn when they signed him? Vaughn was coming off the Super Bowl, and he was still like end of his prime, right? Like equivalent of that.
I mean, he was
close
great.
To it.
He was great for them in the playoffs. He was great that year.
Yep. So,
and the Bills tried to trade for him that year that he went to the Rams. They were in the mix.
And he had pedigree when they signed him, right? It was first ballot Hall of Famer. This guy is a legend. He's still doing it. And the guys that are available now other than Hendrickson are, all right, this guy's pretty good. Josh Sweat's pretty good. Khalil Mack's still pretty good. Mack, again, is more pedigree, but he's... Maybe how different is Mack? Maybe Mack is similar to this, but Mack's not signing a $100 million contract at this point.
No, Khalil Mack's what, like 3 years, $65 million?
Oh, really?
I don't know, 20 a year. Is he more than that?
I was thinking like 2 years,
40.
Yeah, okay, maybe. Maybe I was going low on that.
Guessing money is stupid because there's the reported number and then there's the actual number.
Yep.
I mean, SpotTrack, it's funny. Like you'll use SpotTrack's market value a lot and find that it's way off of the reported number. But what they're giving you is the market value, and then you sign a deal and turns out it's for half. They have Khalil Mack at $23 market value average annual salary. So
right.
3 years, 65. Like, to me, that's that neighborhood. I don't know. Mac would be accomplished. Mac is a 3-down player. Mac is good.
Yes.
He's still good. He was good. He was good with the Chargers last year. He's still good.
But if they wanted to just get the best player they could get their hands on, like right now, I don't know. Hendrickson's the only one you would get right now and make the NFL top 100 list, right?
Yeah, that's probably right.
And like that's what we've been looking for. Is they've got a lot of really good guys, but they need more elite players. And now that the cycle has kind of begun, there's one elite player that's really available, and you could get him maybe, but you're going to be bidding against everybody else, and you have to be confident that Cincinnati's even going to be willing to trade him to you in the first place.
I wouldn't think they are.
Right, they might not be willing to in the first place. So then you're just kind of, all right, well, we'll go get the best guy we could get, but that best guy's not going to be an elite player, which is the thing that we need. So you're going to have to draft it.
Yeah.
You have to hit on one of these picks at the end of the first round, and it works. Like, sometimes it does happen. It's not likely, but like once every 3 drafts, there's a TJ Watt that goes 26th in the draft. And the Bills have had enough swings now at the end of the first round where you're like one of them to be like a stud. And right now, the best you've done is probably Rousseau, who's good.
Yep, he's fine. I know some are a little unconvinced about Rousseau. I start thinking about this I always want to cross over sports. There's just some positions where if you have a guy who's kind of good, you got to pay him. You can't go back to the desert. This is why quarterbacks that are not Josh Allen get paid because, well, listen, he's good. Let's pay him, and that money ends up being huge. This happens at receiver. It happens at defensive end. It can happen at offensive line. There's 5 or 6 positions in football where you just don't want to go into a season dead in that spot. Mm-hmm. And there are others where you'll say, all right, let's see if a couple draft picks can figure it out. 803-0550, our number. Allen gets a big extension. Now we wait to see what the offense looks like around him. The defense, same. Like, we're expecting big changes over there as well. I think they're going to rebuild their secondary. Today might be the start of that, whether that's corners or safeties. It'll be another offseason where there are big-name safeties out there on the market. Safety's a position that, it gets to a certain number, and then they get chewed up and spit out.
Yeah.
Safeties do. So that could happen again.
Yeah, I'm looking right now at the Ringer's top 150 free agents list. And like how many of these are in play? A lot of these are just gone already. Like some are quarterbacks too. Like Darnold's number 1, but Higgins at number 2, not available.
Yep.
Right? Chris Godwin at number 3. He's not a fit.
No, don't need him.
Because he's a slot guy.
Right, don't need a slot guy.
Also, he's probably getting paid, isn't he?
He's probably getting 23 to 25.
Okay.
Some of the speculation is like that kind of money. Yeah.
Number 4, Trey Smith, not available. New England franchise tag, right? Number 5, Osa Odigizua. Do you sign back?
Chiefs franchise tag.
Sorry, right.
Yeah.
Odigizua signed back with the Cowboys?
He did. They franchise tagged him, and then they signed him to a long-term extension.
So the best player on the Ringers list that would be in even a conversation for the Bills is Milton Williams at number 6. So that's a big, expensive defensive tackle.
And isn't he more like Ed Oliver than the different kind of defensive tackle that you want?
He's listed at $289.
And a penetrator.
Right. Ronnie Stanley.
And played next to Jalen Carter.
Ronnie Stanley, unavailable. Javon Holland, number 8. There's your safety.
Right. Which I don't think the Bills would do that.
Okay. There's Josh Sweat at number 9.
That's an idea.
Khalil Mack at number 10.
Yep.
So there you go. Like you get to those top 2 edge guys. Unless you're getting Hendrickson, feel like the best player that you're getting your hands on this offseason. Like I mentioned last hour, there could come a guy that could come available that we're not thinking about. Or even at the draft, right? Yeah. A.J. Brown got traded at the draft, and nobody thought that was coming. So that will happen. There will be a trade or two between now and the draft that just is going to blow our minds that player was on the market.
Right. Let's get stupid. Khalil Mack and Josh Sweat. You said they need 2 defensive ends, 2 edge.
I don't think that's stupid.
All right. It's going to be a lot of money.
It's going to be money, but you're going Rousseau. Well, you paid Rousseau too, right? So
yeah.
Rousseau at 20, Mack at 15, and
Mack at 20.
Sweat at 20. So you want to pay $60 million to those 3?
Bob in Buffalo is up. Hey, Bob, good morning.
Hey, good morning there, guys. Thanks for taking the call. I was curious. I remember hearing that like by cutting Vaughn like post June 1st, like they would have saved probably like another $5 million. So just curious why they would have done it now versus then, and if you guys have any thoughts. That's all.
Thanks, Bob.
I don't know. I saw that too, and my mindset is all in on this like cap rising stuff. So that when I saw that they could have had $4 million more, or $5 million more this year, had they spread it out into next year, I had the same question. Like, well, if the cap keeps going up, why wouldn't you just always? Oh, why wouldn't you always spread it into the future? Because it's really costing you less. The dead cap cost percentage of your cap is actually lower next year.
Every year, yeah. But if you do that, you can't use the cap money until June 1st.
Right. Any of it?
No.
Any of it. Okay.
Yeah, there's post June 1 money.
Right.
That's post June 1. So if you want to spend money now,
that's true.
You don't get that money until post June 1 cuts and money you get after June 1st can be valuable because you could make a trade then once the cap space opens up a bit.
Yep.
CJ in Buffalo. Hey, CJ.
Hey, good morning, guys. Quick question. Just want to know, I know we're talking free agency. Would you trade up for a Travis Hunter in the draft with the capital we have? Just for example, it could be any other receiver. But how far up would you go and then use the cap money for maybe defense? That's just me. It's just an idea. But we always draft early or late, which is consensually, to me, a second-round pick. And a lot of times we miss because we draft traits. Let's go get somebody that we know for a fact is one, young, and two, he's a guy. Let's go get a guy. That's just me.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine a scenario where they get up to the top 5.
Which is what you would need to do
if
for
you
Travis
wanted,
Hunter.
If you want, and at receiver as well, like if you're mentioning Hunter for receiver, or maybe he plays corner, who knows, or maybe both. Last year was the year to trade up for receiver if you wanted to do it, and they didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a deep class, and they did what they did. I don't know. It's really tough to figure out trading up, just because we first have to watch free agency. If they re-sign Hollins and then they add Josh Palmer, well, then I don't think they're trading up for a receiver or really even taking one, if they would anyway. Defensive tackle is, to me, the number one spot I'm still looking at. Defensive end is, of course, there with Vaughn's exit. You have Rousseau and Epinesa. Could they trade up? Sure. They trade up all the time. They trade up 2 to 3 spots all the time. Last year's trade down in the first round was a bit of a surprise. Going into a draft, I'm almost always going to think Bean's going to trade up rather than trade down. And a trade down is an indication that whatever, you like the crop of players here and you don't see a difference. The other way to say that is the drop-off happened, it didn't fall your way. Mm-hmm. That's always how I want to talk about it. You trade down, that means the board didn't go how you wanted it to, because if it fell how you wanted it to, you would take a guy. I think it's too early to make a guess. Yeah, I don't know.
The Big Bo writes in that asking about if Micah Parsons could be the guy that I'm talking about as, becomes available that isn't available right now. There was a tweet about him yesterday from Jordan Schultz, who said that there have been murmurs in the league about whether the Cowboys will actually give Parsons a record-breaking contract or if a trade could become a possibility. But that's the most you have on that right now. He doesn't have a contract. He will certainly cost you $40 million per year. Certainly. Right? If Garrett got $40 million, Micah Parsons is getting $40 million.
Yes.
So if Dallas doesn't want to give him that, then we're back to Garrett, where that's every team in the league is wanting to do that. And it's not currently... you got one insider saying there are murmurs is the most that you're getting, which is a lot less than where we were with Garrett, which, remember, was he wrote a letter saying, I want out.
Right. Good for him, I guess.
Sure, no. If I see more stuff about Parsons, I'll go all in on that, but I'm not believing right now that he's actually going to shake loose.
803-0550 and 1-888-550-2550. Welcome to the league year, the new league year. Rodgers to the Steelers, by the way, is, I want to say, if it's possible to have momentum within a couple of hours on Twitter.
Yeah.
Rodgers to the Steelers seems like it's getting momentum. And maybe Metcalf as a piece makes that happen for them, because Rodgers, I don't know, he doesn't go in and tell them to do that, does he? They need a weapon. They want a receiver. Pickens will be interesting. Do they
Like,
move
if
off
they
of
keep
Pickens?
him?
They don't throw the ball enough to have two stud receivers like that.
Well, then maybe if they had Rodgers, they might.
Maybe.
They'd throw it more for sure, wouldn't they?
I mean, I guess. More than if they have Justin Fields, yes.
Right. Oh, if they have Justin Fields,
they're wasting their time.
Look out fantasy receivers if Justin Fields becomes that team's quarterback. Yeah. Is Rodgers just doing the negotiating thing, though, or is he bidding the Steelers against the Giants right now? Because the Giants, I mean, Jordan Renan this morning is like, the Giants are waiting on Rodgers.
Yeah.
So is he trying to get them to increase the money, or maybe he just doesn't want to stay in New York? Maybe he didn't like the experience of the New York, circuit. I don't know.
There are two names at receiver who are possibly provably good and could change for the Bills, but both are potential headaches. Pickens is one. Headache, right?
What's the other headache?
The other headache is a headache. I mentioned him to you off the air the other day because he's one of the strangest cases there is. And if you want a guy that gets open all the time, that's what this guy is.
Oh.
Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson is one of the best at getting open in the entire league and has been the entire time. He got bounced from the Steelers, bounced from the Ravens. Did he go to the Texans for 5 minutes?
He went to the Texans. I'm not even sure he stuck there.
I have no idea. Nobody seems to know what's going on with Deontay Johnson. You want a guy that gets open? That's him. He gets open all the time.
Yeah.
I saw, maybe it was The Ringer, somebody doing one of those big, huge breakdowns of open score and all that. And here's Deontay Johnson. Basically, they're like, yeah, it's weird, but he's the best receiver in football.
Okay, so his season was he signed with the Panthers. So he was traded from the Steelers to the Panthers.
Yeah.
Then he went to the Ravens for a 6th-round pick. Then they cut him, and he went to the Texans. The Texans then cut him, and he went back to the Ravens. So he was on their roster when the Bills beat them in the divisional round.
Let me make this case here, just real quickly for you. Deontay Johnson is what the Chase Claypool idea was, except it's a better idea.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson took, from 2019 to 2022, was on the outside for 88% of his snaps. And the most recent breakdown from Matt Harmon at receptionperception.com, who I just got a notification my subscription's about to renew, which I'm very excited about. Like, it's the best. Deontay Johnson in 2023, Joe, I'll put it on the screen here for those on the chat. Like, in a perfect route tree, every single route he runs well. Mm-hmm. Everything. And he gets open all the time. He gets open against man. He gets open against zone. He gets open against press coverage. He's great.
Yeah.
What happened? What happened there? Where he's traded the Panthers for nothing, goes to the Ravens. I can't tell you the Bills are going to take that chance. Somebody's going to take that chance. And whatever's going on with his situation, I don't know. Well, I don't get it.
I don't know what happened in Carolina. What happened was they were terrible, right? Carolina was terrible and couldn't get him the ball. So then he got traded to Baltimore. And if I remember right, the story in Baltimore was just they wouldn't play him. And that was his problem, is why aren't you putting me on the field?
Yeah.
And the Ravens might not have cared because they only spent a 6th-round pick to get him. So I don't know. Was it about playing time? Because I would not want to crush the guy if he went to a team that didn't need him and they played him 3 snaps a game and he said, yeah, well, I want to be playing. But I don't know if there's more to it than that.
Right. It's of all the, I mean, he's had some drops. That's a part of it. He's had drops problems.
Yep.
But
remember, was it against the Bills a couple years ago?
Maybe.
There was a game against the Bills where he had like 3 in like the first quarter and he even got benched.
But he is an excellent separator and gets open all the time, every level, and they move him around. Deontay Johnson, I have no idea what his market is. That is the gamble on a guy like, well, Claypool looked pretty good, and then things didn't go right for him. And this is actually one where the guy was good, not just 5 minutes ago.
If it's a gamble like this, he's probably cheap.
Right. And can you get him in your room? Can you convince him everybody eats? Can you sell him on that? And then you just have an excellent receiver. But I don't anticipate that's going to happen. On just talent, he's the best receiver available. But on what's going on with that whole thing, I don't know. It's a cautionary tale. 803-0550. I've got him in fantasy too in Dynasty, and I'm not giving up on that. I'm not giving up on it. One of the reasons my team.
That's why you want him here.
Yeah.
Because probably go. It could go well. He could also get cut in training camp.
Exactly. Who knows?
Yeah.
If he flames out, it would be another example of like, well, the Steelers and what they do. They have a receiver, they run him out of town, it all falls apart for that guy. 803-0550. Paul Hamilton on the other side. We'll get into the Sabres, who shook up the core a bit. They traded Dylan Cousins to the Ottawa Senators. They have a couple new players that came back this way, including Josh Norris. We'll get Paul's thoughts on it, their first game with their new core. Not exactly a great one, but hey, it happens. And they're home tonight. 803-0550 to join us here on WGR.
Lot of football news, and there's more rolling in this morning as we approach noon, which will be the legal tampering period, which is kind of the unofficial opening of free agency. There's Justin Fields rumors today about that's being the Steelers versus the Jets for him, and there's Rodgers Steelers rumors. The Bills doing a lot of work over the weekend. Josh Allen, a 6-year contract, brand new, that is going to pay him $330 million. That's the total. $250 million is fully guaranteed. Adds 2 years to his previous deal. He had a 4-year deal before, left, and now it's 6. Greg Rousseau signs 4 years, $80 million, $54 million guaranteed. That saves about $8 million in the Bills' cap. The Bills also release Von Miller. That saves also $8 million on the cap. Elsewhere around the NFL, Myles Garrett is staying in Cleveland, $40 million per year for him. Devontae Adams to the Rams on a 2-year deal worth $46 million. DK Metcalf traded from the Seahawks to the Steelers for a 2nd-round pick. He gets a 5-year deal for $30 million per year. Seattle maybe starting over a little bit. They traded Metcalf and also traded Geno Smith to the Raiders for a 3rd-round pick. So Seattle needs a quarterback. Sabres in action tonight, 7 o'clock against McDavid and the Oilers. 6 o'clock pregame here on WGR. Josh Norris's home debut for the Sabres after playing on Saturday. Sabres got shut out by Florida. Those are your Paddock Chevrolet sports headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of business.
Dylan, how does it feel to also be joining a team that's really fighting for a playoff spot and a contender possibly?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's obviously a little change than where I just was, but to go out and play those big games, it's very exciting. It's it's awesome getting up for those games and to be in this push. So I'm happy and looking forward to it.
Dylan Cousins, his debut with the Ottawa Senators. I did not view that as taking a shot at the Sabres so much as accurately commenting on the standings.
He kind of just read the standings out loud.
That's
I didn't
just
take it that way either.
An absolute just fact. That's right. Paul Hamilton joining us. His appearance brought to you by Raylax Honda. Raylax, we got this. All right, Paul, we had the trade deadline on Friday. We talked ahead of it, and now we're back for the first time with you to get your thoughts and break down what the Sabres have done here with the trade of Dylan Cousins and also Dennis Gilbert and a draft pick to add a couple of pieces from Ottawa. The big piece, of course, Josh Norris.
Yeah, and I think it's important for this team to admit and start acting on that, they made a mistake. They committed to the wrong core. It's not working as a core. And they don't have to blow up the whole thing, but some of it has to be changed out because it's just not working. And Dylan Cousins may do very well in Ottawa, and somebody else out of the core they trade may do very well somewhere else, or maybe it'll work for them. But you have to face facts, and even if it does work for them somewhere else, it wasn't working for them here under a couple of different coaches and a couple of different systems, and this team was still in last place in the conference. And I think it was important for them to finally admit that, all right, we've made a mistake here, this isn't working, and we have to start changing it. Now, if this is the only move, no. Then you haven't admitted anything. I mean, you have to keep going now. I mean, it has to be more. You have to make multiple moves to make this team better, and this is just the start. It can't be the end. This is just the start, and once you get to the off season, it has to continue.
Paul, one thing about this trade that's I think different for any other. Sure, hockey trade like. We got into Middlestad for Byram was a hockey trade, but Byram didn't have a ton of term. The Sabres have acquired a piece in Josh Norris that is, welcome to town. You're part of the core now. So to me, that kind of move, Cousins out, fine. Identifying this player coming back as instantly part of the core is a very big commitment to make from a GM.
It is, but, you've already made a big commitment to one, so it's just one big commitment for another. But in my opinion, if both are playing at their best, I think Josh Norris is a shade better. I think he's better on both ends of the rink. But, Josh, you're taking a big chance with Norris. He's had 2 shoulder surgeries. He's only the most games he's played in a season is 66. He could pass that this year. He's been healthy this year. But you're taking a chance on a player that has had trouble staying healthy. But in that year that he played 66 games, he scored 35 goals. So when he finally got himself healthy to play, he played well. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. But yeah, it's just that's kind of the way I look at it. I think if they're both at their best, I think Buffalo got a little bit better player. But again, it just can't be Josh Norris and they're done.
Right. It's almost one gamble for another, Paul, where Cousins had looked kind of lost, but he had been on the ice, versus Norris, who, Norris really hasn't gone through a 2-year period where every time he's out there, it's what is happening with this guy. It's more just he hasn't been out there.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's definitely you're taking a chance that those things are behind him and he can stay relatively healthy and show what he can do here in Buffalo.
I don't know that Kevin Adams talked about this at all, Paul, but is any part of this for you power play? Norris has triple the power play goals in his career than Cousins does in a lot fewer games, and he's a left shot, so one-timer. Maybe that's not why they did the trade, but certainly the power play needs help, and he should be able to help it more, I think, than what Cousins was.
That was addressed by Lindy Ruff, and yes, power play and penalty kill. He can do both. And Lindy Ruff said he plans on using him on both. Immediately, I mean, they didn't even do line rushes at the morning skate in Florida. They just basically did power play, and put him out on the power play and did a lot of practicing that way. So he still, honestly, when I saw him in the game, looked a little bit lost on the power play. But as I said, he had spent, 10 minutes with those guys playing, and that was it. So that's the type of player he is, and I don't think he's going to be lost on the power play for long.
Adams talking about other pieces, Paul, on Friday. Were you interested in how he answered the question on Bo Byram and where that currently stands? Because I don't know, every time I hear, whether it's when you talked to Byram earlier in the season or Adams on Friday, not to say he couldn't sign, I'm not ever hearing anything that makes me think oh yeah, they're going to get an extension worked out.
Yeah, and with Bo Byram's case, it was when talking to him, I mean, when you talk with the agent, they have to be willing to talk at the time, and Bo Byram just seemed like that's kind of an off-season thing. We're not going to deal with that right now. We're going to finish the year and then get into we're going to do business then. So that's kind of the way I took it, and I think Kevin Adams basically said the same thing. It's we haven't really gotten to that yet, but part of that reason might be because Bo Byram's camp hasn't gotten to it yet. So it's right, we want to do business now. Let's do the business in the off-season.
So the plan with Norris going forward is, did Lindy say this number one center, at least for the time being?
He said he has a chance to be a number one center. Again, he's got to be on the ice.
Right.
To prove that he could be a number one center. He's got to be on the ice consistently. But he did say he's the type of player that he thinks could be a number one center on his team or in the NHL.
And he's been playing. He played with Thompson and Tuck, obviously, on Saturday.
A little, but they had Thompson on the left wing. That's the first time they've done that. That didn't go anywhere, so then they changed it up. So we saw a bunch of different combinations as the game went on.
Should we get into what happened on Saturday? Just nothing went right. They're also, the whole team is sick again, right, Paul?
Yeah, they are, and I know people say that's an excuse, but the Quinn shouldn't have played, but they were out of players, because their other new guy has visa problems, so he couldn't play. Greenway was worse, so he couldn't play. Kulik was very sick, so he couldn't play. He already called up two guys, one making his Sabre NHL debut, and it was only his 15th NHL game and done. Yeah, I mean, you're playing the Stanley Cup champions, so you're that shorthanded, or you're having guys in the lineup who are that weak. You're probably, and that's what it looked like. They looked blah. That's the way I described it to Brian. I go, it was just blah. There just wasn't a lot of passion, but there wasn't But, and people say stop making excuses, but I'm just going to say they have flu ripping through the team, and there are some guys in that lineup who just aren't 100% right now because they just have gotten over it or they're just coming down with it. I said flu. I'm sorry. I don't know it's the flu.
Right.
They have some sort of sickness going through the team.
Mm-hmm.
So what now? The plan, Lindy's plan, like we're just playing out the string and finding out the new core. Is that the next?
It's more about like individuals.
Yeah,
and like
it's more. Hey, Kevin Adams and Lindy, you have to identify who stays and who goes, I guess. And if you're prepared for bold changes, maybe you do know what those changes are going to be. Maybe you're still open to what it could be, but I don't know, Paul. They're pretty firmly in last, and I feel like that's what we're looking at from here on out.
Yeah, and it looks like he tinkers with the lineup. I think he wanted to see what Thompson looks like on the left side. I have no problem with that. I mean, yeah, you're not going anywhere. You basically have clinched last place in the East, so now is the time to see, does this work? How about this? Does this work? What does this look like? And I really don't mind that. I don't necessarily think it's time to start bringing up young guys and exposing them to this. Especially since some of the young guys on this team, I think, were rushed up to the team anyway. Maybe for a game or something, like if you have a spot for Hellenius and you can bring him up for a game just so he can see what it's like, that's fine. But I know Luukkonen's struggling. I agree, but why pull Levi up into this? I just would say absolutely not. Let him stay in Rochester and let him take that team as far as he can take it. And I would say that for most of the guys, unless you're out of guys and you have to bring people up. But they brought up Dunn. They didn't bring up Hellenius or whatever. And I was, again, fine with that. With what's going on up here, I don't think it's a healthy situation for young players. I think they've rushed everybody to Kulik. I think Kulik was developed properly. He played over 100 games in the American Hockey League, and it shows in his development as he's come up here. But, I just don't see any point in bringing any of the young guys up here and exposing them to this.
Thank you, Paul. We'll chat tomorrow.
Take care.
Paul Hamilton on the Sabres. His appearance brought to you by Raylax Honda. Raylax, we got this. I mentioned to you that I had a trivia / stat of the day. Mm-hmm. And we'll get to as stat of the day, powered by Empire Electric, your residential neighborhood electrician. Visit EmpireElectricians.com. So when Mikko Rantanen steps on the ice for the Dallas Stars, because he was traded, he will set a new NHL record for most points by a player who played for 3 teams in one season. Beating who? One more time. Mikko Rantanen steps on the ice. He becomes the NHL record holder for points in a season playing for 3 teams in one season, right? From Colorado to Carolina to Dallas. He will pass who?
Is it Thomas Vanek?
It is.
Yeah.
That's why I ask you the question. Vanek.
Sabres to Islanders to Montreal?
Correct.
Okay.
70 points. 68 points.
Okay.
Rantanen has 70. Vanek was the record holder for points by a player with 3 teams in the same season. Rantanen will pass him on that.
Cool.
Good Thomas Vanek shout out.
The deadline lived up. This is the most interesting deadline in years. I would say that.
Yeah, like with the
Rantanen trade happened.
Marchand trade.
Marchand to Florida blew people's minds at the end. I don't know if I hate that happened or that I love that happened.
The condition on that pick is if he plays 50% of their playoff games. Not how far they go. Just if he plays 50%. The Leafs made a trade with a protected first. New rule.
Also, there's a lot of Marner rumors now that he was they were talking about him at the deadline.
With the Rantanen trade. Yeah, he's asked to waive his no trade. New rule. If you are in the playoffs and making a trade, you are not allowed to top 10 lottery protect your pick. Not allowed. The Leafs pick is lottery protected,
but for next year,
not allowed. Good, right? Next year, not even next year. If you are in a playoff spot when you make a trade, the words lottery protected are removed from your.
You're not eligible.
Not eligible to do it. Lottery-protected trades in the NHL have made it the lamest thing on earth. Not allowed anymore. As commissioner, that's my first offside review goes away. Then, no more lottery-protected trades. Come on.
At all? Not from anybody?
Chin up. Show some guts.
Gumption, yeah.
All right, 803-0550. We got a break. We got to check what's going on in the chat because our viewership is way up, and the bullpen thinks they have a result. They have a why is that happening? Because the bullpen is blowing up. That's our YouTube chat. We'll check in with them. 803-0550, Jeremy and Joe on WGR. Ah, yes. Hey, the golf was good yesterday.
Yeah, Russell Henley with a chip in to win.
Yeah, basically
16.
16 put him ahead of Morikawa, who couldn't close it out. And
he bogeyed on the back nine that put him down there. So
no. Golf was good. Players Championship this week. Good old Sawgrass.
Love it. No Tiger this week, but there was a rumor he could play, but he's not going to play.
I'm trying to remember the stories of all the balls in the water at 17th. It's also 16, the right side of 16 and the island green in 17. 100,000 balls a year or something like that. I should look up the math. I don't remember if they dredge it and get all the golf balls out of there. They would have to. Because otherwise there'd be so many golf balls, it would fill all the way up and golf balls would start to appear above the surface.
Right.
I got 2 in there.
2 in the water?
Yep. 2 in the water.
They wouldn't still be in there.
No. Where are those golf balls right now?
I'm sure they've cleaned it out and sold them.
Yeah, right. Somebody
refurbished,
did.
Right?
You were right with 100,000.
100,000.
That's an estimated number.
Per year?
Per year, yep.
All right, I got 2. Love Sawgrass. Great tournament. Sawgrass is, of course, if you played the Tiger Woods video games going way back, you knew that course long before. That was in all
Tiger
the Tiger
Woods,
games.
PGA Tour 2006. Yeah, that was in there.
For me, it's Tiger Woods PGA Tour 97, whatever, Tiger Woods 97.
Okay.
It's probably the one, 97, 98. But Sawgrass was always there. And that first tee shot on 16, I was trying to bend it around that tree on the left and land it short of the water on the right in the fairway so you could take your... Anyway, 16. 17's the headliner, 16's the really incredible hole.
Yeah.
All that water all the way down the right side and around the back of the green.
Who won the Players last year? This is the only thing with the Players. I love it when it approaches, but I can never remember because it's not a major.
Wasn't Scheffler? Scheffler won everything at the beginning of last year, I thought. It was Scheffler.
That's got to be right.
Anyway, we can look it up. Wide open phones. Give us a ring.
It was Scheffler.
Scheffler
the last 2 years.
We have Matt Harmon's reception perception drop on all the free agent receivers. Who do you want to know about? How about Amari Cooper? The things he wrote about Cooper. It's got to drive a discussion about what the Bills are going to do here. 803-0550, the Amari Cooper film review from Matt Harmon and some other ideas. Free agency, welcome to the start of the league year. Jeremy and Joe on WGR.
Check out the 2025 Kia K4 sedan, named finalist for the 2025 North American Car of the Year.
Jeremy White here for FanDuel Sportsbook, official partner of WGR, bringing you a Dog of the Day Profit Boost token. One of the best parts about the tournament is when an underdog takes down a powerhouse, and right now those upsets can get even better. Your underdog bet wins, you land more winnings with a Profit Boost. So it's your chance to ride with a long shot, scrappy team, someone you like the matchup. Get on board with an underdog and go with FanDuel. FanDuelSportsbook.com. That's FanDuel.com/white to download America's #1 sportsbook and back your dog of the day with that profit boost. Because after all, anything can happen in March. 21 plus and physically present in New York. Opt-in required. Wager of at least plus 100 odds required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
Bills making moves this weekend. Josh Allen is on a new contract, 6 years, $330 million, which adds 2 years from his previous deal. $250 million guaranteed is a league record. Greg Rousseau is back with the Bills on a 4-year, $80 million contract. $54 million of that is guaranteed. The Bills release Von Miller. Both the Von move and the Rousseau signing save $8 million roughly each with those two moves. Reed Ferguson also signing with the Bills, $1.6 million per year on a 4-year deal, highest paid long snapper in the NFL. Myles Garrett is staying in Cleveland. It took a $40 million per year contract for him to stay with the Browns. Devontae Adams is going to the LA Rams on a 2-year deal worth $46 million total. The number will probably come in less than that. That's the most he can earn. And then the Seahawks making some trades this weekend. DK Metcalf to Pittsburgh for a second-round pick, and the Steelers paid Metcalf $30 million per year. Geno Smith traded to the Raiders for a third-round pick. Today is the legal tampering period in the NFL, kind of the unofficial start of free agency at 12. Aaron Rodgers reportedly is becoming more and more of an option for the Steelers. He's still in on the Giants job, and the Jets and Justin Fields reportedly will talk once they can today at 12. Sabres in action today at 7 o'clock against the Edmonton Oilers. We'll have pregame starting at 6 here on WGR. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of business.
Something I want to drill down on is the idea of a top-heavy roster. This would be almost unprecedented in the NFL. Think about what those 4 guys are going to get. Joe Burrow's already making $55 million a year. Jamar Chase, record-setting deal for a receiver, probably $37 million a year. If you're paying T. Higgins, you're thinking probably in the $30 million range. And now after that Max Crosby deal, Trey Hendrickson, up to $36 million a year if he's going to be setting the market on the edge. Doing the math in my head is going to be a little hard. I think that's about $158 million or so for 4 players. That's about 57% of the NFL salary cap. That's out of line with everybody else in football. Nobody else in the league right now is over 50%.
Hang on, Joe. Just that's
what are we writing over there?
That's Bill Barnwell on the Bengals. I'm putting together a new flow chart ahead of free agency.
A new one?
I've got a new flow chart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're dropping a new flow chart this morning. It's very exciting.
Okay.
All right, ready? Here's the flow chart. It just works like this. It's going to be known as the PFF grade evaluation chart. Okay. All right, so you can follow this chart. I'll put on the chat here. Hold on, the chat's huge. The chat's blowing up.
Well, we got the camera in
here. Here we go. I'm going to hold this up. Here's your new flow chart. Bill Barnwell, Bengals. What do you say? Something about them? Nah, it's probably smart.
That they're cheap.
Yeah, he's smart. Whatever he said is probably right. Here we go. Here's your new flow chart. Here we go. Ready? Your team signs a player. The PFF grade is good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's awesome. Or the PFF grade is bad. The result is, Pro Football Focus sucks. So that's the new flow chart ahead of free agency. Uh-huh. Is the PFF grade good? Yeah. Oh, awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Is it bad? Well, who knows? What's PFF know?
What are they? The grades are stupid. Yeah.
For instance, Khalil Mack graded the 5th best defensive end last year.
Nice.
So if the Bills sign him, I need you to know that PFF is good. And if the Bills don't sign him, what's PFF know?
Yeah.
He's probably not good anymore. It's kind of an offshoot of the chart that's basically, your team signs a player. That's a great signing.
Yeah.
Somebody else signs him. Way too much money. I wouldn't do that.
Yesterday was a fight about whether pass rush win rate matters or not.
Yes.
Because they cut Von, and I pointed out how good he was in that.
He had a good pass rush win rate.
7th in the league.
Right.
He's 8th in the league.
If they had
out of him.
Again, it all goes back to the initial. If they had kept him, then pass rush win rate does matter. But since he's gone, it doesn't. Get him on the ground, buddy. Come on.
Right.
Figure it out. That's what we do as sports fans. I don't know. Maybe I won't tweet this chart. It's not that funny. The original one's better. Anyway, good morning. Jeremy and Joe, 803-0550, our phone number.
So today really is free agency day.
Pretty much. And
I don't like that they split it up then. Just have them, the signings can happen today at noon. Just let them do it.
Right.
On second thought, guys, you know what? Just go ahead. Sign the contracts.
Didn't they make this? They did this, though, so we don't get tampering. That's tampering, guys. Like, shut up, stop. Who cares?
It's not even different, though. Really.
Get over it.
Well, they'll tamper the week before. Now.
I know, but now that they built in a legal tampering period, the deal can't be signed till Wednesday. Right. So now your argument's going to be, they talked to him on Sunday. Oh, what? Instead of Monday? Whatever. You had your time. It's not like you can talk to a player, then he signs on day one of free agency before you got a chance to even meet his representation. Like, if they don't return your calls in this 2 days, sorry.
Right.
That's on you. You had 2 days to get this done. It was reported that guy agreed to a deal. You can still call him. He can't sign it until Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So I think they did this to kind of clear up any sort of whining about not being able to talk to a player. That's my guess.
I do. It is funny though. Like, so Ian Hart just tweeted this out. Legal tampering starts at noon. Free agents can finally talk to teams. Let's get this ball rolling. 12:01. Justin Fields has agreed to a 3-year, $90 million contract with $45.5 million guaranteed.
Yep.
Like 12:01, we'll get contract news.
Maybe.
Which means, okay, they've talked. We know they haven't figured out this complicated contract in 90 seconds since the thing opened. Maybe they'll be a little more careful about it this year, though. I don't know.
Give us a ring, 803-0550. Before the phone call, one quick thing on Amari Cooper. So Matt Harmon of ReceptionPerception.com has released some profiles of last year's receivers, some of the free agents, T. Higgins, Chris Godwin, and he's posted Amari Cooper's player profile. And it is not very complimentary on what he did this year. His percentile beating man coverage. He was in the 23rd percentile beating man coverage. 29th beating press coverage. He basically pointed out that the film in Buffalo was pretty much a disaster, that they ran him on go routes and very little else.
After not being that bad in Cleveland.
Yes.
Like he said, the way Cleveland used him was a lot better than the way the Bills used him. The Bills asked him to run go routes, and he can't run go routes
Yes,
anymore.
He said all year long he could not get off the line and stack corners. His success rate on the go route was, in the words of Matt Harmon, ghastly. Mm-hmm. He does not separate. He does not get yards after contact either, that he was brought down on first contact on 90% of his plays in space.
Yep.
So Cooper was a name they got. They paid a price. He helped them a little bit. This is not a player they should bring back.
What would help them is he caught balls when he wasn't open.
Yes.
Or else it would have been total disaster.
Right.
Like every play you can think of that he made while he was a Bill, there was a guy draped all over him. Think of the amazing touchdown he caught against the Jets. He had to go over that guy who was right in his space. So he made some plays, but none of them he was open.
Same with Mac Hollins. Like Mac Hollins' touchdown in the AFC Championship game at the end of the first half.
Oh, it's a perfect throw.
It's a perfect throw.
Yeah.
The Bills have an MVP quarterback throwing to outside receivers that do not separate, and two of them are gone. And you've still got people that seem not convinced that they need some help at that position. I would have done DK Metcalf in a heartbeat. No, absolutely. But whatever. He's on to Pittsburgh now. George Pickens is an idea. I don't think so. I don't know about that one. But you can give us a call on that, on any free agent you like. The Metcalf idea is dead. The Myles Garrett idea is gone. And now, kind of seeing what the Bills can do, who they can hunt for, some bargain basement, maybe not basement, whatever, just some modest deals. Maybe not the biggest names, the biggest fish. We'll see what they do as teams can negotiate beginning at noon today. That, and of course, the Sabres, if you want it as well. We owe you the dog of the day, Edmonton. An oil dog.
Skinner's back. Why don't they just peel the skin off the hot dog? Like you do for kids?
Skinned hot dog.
Yeah, skinned hot dog.
Paul in Buffalo is up. Hey, Paul, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Loyalty is a strange thing. Kevin Adams has been here 5 years now, an unmitigated disaster. And when I listened to that press conference after the trade deadline, I didn't sense a guy who had any pressure on him whatsoever. He has the absolute trust and loyalty of the owner of this franchise. And I think the fan base is in the exact 180-degree difference from Kevin Adams, because 3 years ago today was the day Jack Eichel and the Vegas Golden Knights came to Buffalo for the first time with Jack Eichel playing. It was, I remember it distinctly because it was my 42nd birthday. Today's my 45th.
Happy birthday.
Connor McDavid's coming. Thank you very much. Today's Connor McDavid is coming in. And I remember the Eichel game because I paid up and I sat 6 rows behind the Vegas bench and I laid into him from the start of the puck drop, from before the start of the puck drop. And I laid into him till the end of the game. And he heard every word of it. And along with the rest of the fan base that was there laying into him, we distracted him and got him off his game. Tonight, I don't have a desire at all to go see my favorite hockey player on earth, Connor McDavid. I don't have a desire at all to go see him tonight against the Sabres because Kevin Adams has destroyed not my loyalty to the franchise, but my trust and faith in him at all. I don't want to go see the team anymore because I'm not proud to be a Sabre fan anymore. And that crushes me because I love the Sabres more than the New York Yankees, more than Michigan Wolverine football. In fact, I can't even compare those other two franchises with the Sabres, even though those two franchises are top of the heap, A-plus first-class franchises, and the other franchise is arguably the worst in North American professional sports. So it is shocking to me where I am with the franchise. And this is after what I consider a very good trade deadline for Adams. I called up twice this year and was so irate at Dylan Cousins I wanted him waived for a bucket of pucks. I called up and said I wanted Greenway extended and Zucker extended. He did all those things. But there is a gaping hole in this roster that can only be filled by Mitchell Marner. And Terry, you got to just throw money at the guy.
Paul, to that point, thanks for the phone call. I think, I don't know if this is a leap or however you want to say it, but I saw some Sabres fans making connections because one question you get a lot is how can the Bills be so good and the Sabres be so ugh? Mm-hmm. And my answer to that is always money. The Bills get as much as they ever need, and the Sabres don't. And as much as Kevin Adams can say, we don't have an internal cap, there are opportunities all the time for the Sabres to retain salary in trades and get better assets for retaining salary. They don't do that.
The retain salary evidence is the most damning evidence.
You just retain some salary and you get a better draft pick, and they don't do that.
They have not. There were trades made on Friday that were this, like, hey, we'll take your expensive player to make a trade work for you and give us a draft pick in exchange for it. The Coyotes did this like every year, like 7 times. I'm not saying that made them good, but it's a tool that you have when you're not spending to the cap to help make your roster better.
And they don't do it.
I saw Chad DeMonicis point this out. I didn't know this on Friday. It's not surprising that they have not made a deal where they've retained salary. They've not retained salary in any trade since the Taylor Hall trade in 2021. They haven't done it in 4 years. And they've been far below the cap that whole time.
Yeah.
So that is definitely damning evidence. I agree with the call, though, with Paul. Like, I am very sour on the GM, and I think he did the thing on Friday that I've thought for years he can't do. Or he at least hasn't done enough of.
Sure, but making a trade, not that they just made a trade to make a trade, but I made this point to Paul. It is wild to me on some level that, okay, you're going to change out your core and you're going to change out more pieces of it.
Right.
Are there bigger moves coming? To trade away Dylan Cousins to acquire Josh Norris, who's on a contract for
until 2030.
Yeah.
And he's now your highest paid forward, $7.9 million.
You went out and acquired your highest paid forward for the longest term, about. I mean, that guy is now your immediate core.
Right.
And what do you know about him? Do you like him enough? Does he, finger quotes, want to be here? I mean, he's here. You had to trade for a guy that didn't have a choice. And that's those are the waters that Kevin Adams has to swim in. So it's not a criticism. It's just it's jarring to see. The Byram trade is like, okay, good player for good player. Both guys are RFAs. There's some fluidity to what happens. Norris, that guy's here.
He's here.
He is your core. And that is a major change to make at the deadline. I'm not upset about it. I hope it works out. It's just to go from a team that is, I think, been defined by inaction for a decade to make that caliber of a move is a pretty big deal.
Especially when I didn't have expectation they would do that. The beginning of the week it was Drager tweeting, like, it could be a quiet deadline for the Sabres. Yeah. That was, to me, them signaling, we want to make a hockey trade and we don't think there's one out there. And then they did do it. They made the hockey trade that they wanted.
They also,
I think personally, they got, Paul said like a shade better. I think he's way better. Or at least has the potential to be way better. Norris has not had 2 years where he's looked like Cousins has looked. Where it's just, what is going on with this guy? Norris, it's just, if his shoulder is healthy, he's a good player. He's got a better shot. He's a better defender. He's a better skater. The only thing I saw in better, all the numbers are way better, especially the advanced numbers. The only thing that I've seen that Cousins is better at is like carrying the puck, like zone entries and zone exits and stuff. But every face-offs, everything else is pro Norris.
Well, thinking about Cousins again here, so. Again, the Sabres have this thing where guys get traded and then they're amazing. The difference with Cousins is if Cousins finds his game, he'll be the first one that left that finds his game. All the other players were already awesome.
Right.
O'Reilly was great. We knew that. Eichel was great 3 years ago today. He played back here. And I remember that day where, he was hurt because people booed him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've defended Eichel the entire time, and I don't feel anything... I don't have any regrets about that, really. I thought he made those comments because he was hurt. Like, he put his heart and soul into the organization and tried and was their best player, and they stunk, and everyone got mad at him instead of the team. Of course, looking back, he was right. Everybody knows it. Everybody knew it. Reinhart was great. He goes somewhere and has success. Who's surprised?
He's the one that's had a lot more, though, than he had here.
Sure.
O'Reilly was relatively as good in St. Louis as he was here. Okay. Eichel was relatively about the same. Reinhart, and I'm not saying this to counter your point, it's just that it's amazing that Reinhart's gone from...
like a league leader in goals.
50 goal scorer back-to-back seasons.
That's right.
Yeah.
So maybe Cousins finds his game. I don't think it was ever going to happen here. And of course, But back to the point about money. The Bills' new contract with Allen, the owner has to write a check for the entire amount guaranteed.
Right.
Like, oh, Bills, hold on. $250 million. Whoosh, check. Sabres. How about a top 6 winger? I don't know. They don't spend to the cap.
How about another Jason Zucker?
Yeah.
$5 million.
I think that the Sabres are severely limited by funding. That's what I think. They have an internal cap, and then there's things you can spend that are not part of the cap that don't get tabulated the same. I think the Bills have just about endless resources, and the Sabres don't. So what's the difference? I think it's budget, personally. 803-0550. That said, they did go out and acquire a player with a lot of term and a lot of dollars.
They did.
But to that point,
it was only 0.7 million, 700,000 more per year than Cousins.
Sure, but not just that. Like, you have to spend the money. You are legally required to spend X amount of dollars. So that you are spending some is not an indicator you're willing to spend what everybody else is willing to spend.
Well, we'll see. Like, I don't believe that they will be near it, but he got asked the question again. Adams did on Friday. He always looks uncomfortable when he gets the question. He did say, like, will you be a team that spends the cap? And he said, we want to be a team that's spending to the cap. I will believe it when I see it. And next year the cap is going to be even higher. Right. So the money they have to go up to spend to the cap, it's not, hey, spend $7 million more. Because this year you were what, $7 million? They were like roughly $7 million below the cap. It's okay, spend $7 million more, and then you want to be a cap team? Don't spend to this year's cap. They might spend to this year's cap next year. Spend to the cap next year means you're spending like $20 million. And I can't imagine they're going to spend $20 million more than what's on the roster right now.
Right.
That'd be crazy if they did that.
What he said this time, like, yeah, sure, okay, gave you that impression. The previous comment he had on the cap was, I don't pay attention to the cap.
Right.
Or I don't think about the cap. I don't really think about the cap. What? How could you not think about the salary cap? It's how this league works. Every league works.
If they pay Marner, they'd be up to the cap.
Good luck. Hey, Josh Allen, convince Mitch Marner to come here. Convince Brady Tkachuk also, because Brady Tkachuk cried when Josh Norris left.
Best friend.
Convince those guys to come here. You might be onto something. Tom in Buffalo. Hey, Tom, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, I've been listening to you guys for a long time now, but you already answered my question though about like Khalil Mack. They're probably not going to sign him.
I think they very well might. I mean, Khalil Mack is as good an idea as any. They can definitely do it if they want to. They can fit him under the cap. They can make his cap hit small, and he's good. He's still good.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom.
The only other team I've seen reference with him is Chicago.
Yeah, a return to Chicago.
That a return to Chicago is something that both sides like, but he's talked about liking it here. So, and he thought he was going to get drafted here. So, yeah.
That's about as exciting as it gets, maybe. Not to say it's the best move. If they add one of these defensive tackles that hit the open market, okay. But Khalil Mack is... we joked at the start of the segment about PFF grades. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better PFF acquisition for the Bills than Khalil Mack. 5th best defensive end last year. You can still play.
Is it interesting? This is weird. This legal tampering. Here's some illegal tampering. So I'm just looking for like Khalil Mack, like because I know there was a Chicago rumor earlier last week. Like, is that gone anywhere? The Bears' official Twitter account on Friday tweeted out a video, and the tweet is just "Leave your legacy," and then it's 47 seconds of Khalil Mack Bears highlights, or at least he's in most of the highlights.
Mm-hmm.
They're tweeting about he's not available right now, is he? He didn't get cut by the Chargers, did he?
Who?
Khalil Mack?
He's a free agent.
So, but is he a free agent today at 12, or is he already a free agent?
I think he's okay.
Because to me, that's tampering. They're tweeting out like maybe it's not
the social media
the social
director.
media account is like indicating like, oh, we're going to sign Khalil Mack on Monday. Here's some highlights.
Maybe
on Friday. Maybe I'm wrong. Like if the Bills tweeted out Diggs highlights on Friday, what would we have thought? Are they going to sign Diggs?
We would think they'd been hacked.
Yeah, okay, that's probably right. I picked the wrong player for that. Who's available? It's a former Bill. Former Bill is available out there right now, and they tweet out highlights on Friday. Wouldn't we be going, they're going to sign him on Monday?
Poyer. Who is the best former Bill available?
I don't actually know.
That's a fun game. Who's the best former Bill available?
Well, it's Diggs. But beyond, other than him? Or is it not him?
Who is it?
The thing about the Bills is they often use up, like, all of the, like, right, John Brown, Cole Beasley, like, these guys don't, Poyer, Micah Hyde.
MVS is coming back. How about that one?
Oh, jeez. Who is the best former Bill? It's going to be Diggs. Yeah. Cooper. Right? Cooper and Diggs, the former receivers. They're in the Ringer ranking. They're the two highest graded. Rasul Douglas.
Right. Forgot about Douglas. They're going to sign a corner today. That's my not today, but they're going to remake their secondary. All right, we got to get
their big move being a corner.
803-0550 on the Sabres. We got some juice on the Sabres as they turn the page. Edmonton tonight. We'll check in on the chat. Head to the bullpen, see what's going on there. Take more of your phone calls as well. A sunny, beautiful Monday. The sun, folks. How about the sun?
Couple days in a row, too.
We're arguing online about daylight savings, all because we love the sun. Welcome back to the sun. Jeremy and Joe on WGR. Jeremy White here for Riverfront Auto Sales, 1379 Niagara Street in Buffalo. If you're in the market for a pre-owned vehicle, get to Riverfront Auto Sales right now. At Riverfront, they can help you find that next vehicle. When it comes to what they've got, check their inventory. I mean, at Riverfront, they've got cars just coming and going. It's a busy time right now at Riverfront. And when you want to buy your next vehicle, Riverfront, check out what they've got at their website, riverfrontautosales.com. Whether it's there's an Acura at the front page, 2017 Acura in great shape. You save so much money going the pre-owned route. And right now, like you might see car prices are a little bit wacky or things are going wild. At Riverfront, you're going to save so much. And in terms of going the pre-owned route, I got a bunch of vehicles at Riverfront. The last one I got was still under factory warranty. So think about buying a pre-owned vehicle that's still under the factory warranty. You've got lots and lots of time for that vehicle to be driving. You're getting a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 discount by getting a car that's 2-3 years old. Riverfront Auto Sales, the best pre-owned vehicles. They'll get you a deal. They'll make sure you're taken care of. And again, you're saving money by going the pre-owned route. You can ask about the WOW warranty or guaranteed credit approval, and you can double that tax return as well. Bring the return to Riverfront, and they'll double it. And if you are waiting out a couple days, let them know. They'll hold the vehicle for you until you're ready to make that down payment, $1,000, and they match it. So now you have $2,000 towards that vehicle. Like, think about the savings when you add all that up, saving $20,000 by going a 2-year-old car, saving $2,000 also on your down payment. 886-1626. That's 886-1626. Give them a call, Riverfront. If they don't have the car, they'll find it for you, the truck, the SUV, whatever you need. 886-1626. That's 886-1626 for Riverfront Auto Sales.
Vaughn. I know he hadn't done very well against this guy, but I got a hunch he's due.
Good morning to the chat on YouTube. The chat we're treating now as a character on the show.
See, that's why I love it. We don't even have to mention a guy and just bam, everyone's fist fighting in the chat.
The chat is like, you look out in your backyard and you see, like, what are the dogs doing out there? And you just find out, like, they're after something. All right, it's been a big day at the YouTube chat known as the Bullpen. We got our viewership up to 300, and the chat is taking responsibility for that. They think they are driving the YouTube viewership. More and more people in there commenting rather than calling.
Yeah.
What's going on in the chat? We got a couple of golf invites, and we're getting news on what courses are open.
There is a course open today.
Not bad.
At least one.
The answer to the question, the best bill they could bring back, Stephon Gilmore.
Stephon Gilmore,
he didn't retire yet.
Someone in the chat mentioned Trey White. Not that he's the best, but the theory. So the Bears tweeting out Khalil Mack highlights. If the Bills tweeted out Trey White highlights on Friday, wouldn't we be thinking they're bringing Trey White back?
Yeah,
we'd be
that's
thinking
right.
about it,
That's
at
right.
least.
That's right. Mac Hollins' watch. I'm going to say we're on Mac Hollins' watch. Why isn't he resigned? He's talking to teams at noon today,
and the receiver market is. Like, theirs to be taken.
I just picture Mac walks into the office with Bean, right? Like, we're going to talk about your contract. He walks in. He's wearing shoes. And Bean's like, oh, man. He means business today. All business, Mac. He's wearing his shoes today.
Yeah.
Mac Hollins.
I mean, if there's $7-8 million dying out there for him, there could be. If Tutu Atwell's getting 10, Darius Slayton out here with $16 million contract projections.
Yeah.
He blocks, plays outside, he special teams, he catches touchdowns. Yeah, someone could convince themselves of that.
What else going on in the chat? Josh's new contract. Someone in the chat, Keenan did the math. Josh Allen makes $104 per minute for the next 6 years.
Nice.
That seems all right.
Per minute in general or minute on the field?
Minute.
Just
minute.
It's good.
What do you even do?
Who? What would you even like?
What do you even do?
Invest in a hockey team.
Buy a golf course.
Buy a hockey team? By the end of his
by the end, probably need some help. Some investors.
Let's get stupid. I'm not even going to say it. Should I say it?
Sure.
Would you take Josh Allen buys the Sabres and moves them to Wyoming? But
whoa! That's what you were going to say?
But
no, take it back.
Can I finish? But delivers 4 Super Bowls before doing it.
No.
Okay. Let's get stupid.
I'm a no. I know there will be people that say yes.
Yes, there are people that are going to say yes.
I'm personally a no.
They're not going to move to Wyoming.
You did make it 4 Super Bowls.
I did.
It's the age-old
not just
sports bar conversation
of
would you trade the Sabres for a Super Bowl?
Not just that. 4, including 3 in a row, which Mahomes did not do. Therefore, Josh becomes the GOAT.
I love the
How about that?
The last two in the chat from DJ Greco. This is the name. Kick Jeremy out, but maybe.
Hey, when the bullpen music is playing, we're allowed to get a little wild.
Yeah.
All right, thanks to the chat. Yeah, people want to check on me. Is he all right? I had myself a weekend, let me tell you that. Not exactly like a crazy party weekend. My daughter was sick. She has asthma, so we were at Children's on Wednesday night, and then she came home, and then we're back. So I spent Friday and Saturday both at Children's overnight with my daughter. She's fine. She has child asthma issues, and a rager of a Friday night at Children's and Saturday.
So you're sleeping in a chair then when you're there?
No, right? they have a couch in those rooms.
Okay.
That transitions into a bed, like a single bed.
Oh, okay, that's good.
That I love. I've spent some nights in Children's, and it's a nice piece of furniture.
All right, that's good.
I kind of want one. I've long wanted one. So
like a pull-out sofa?
It's not quite pull-out. The back of it shoots up and on top of the regular cushions, because regular cushions are 2 seats and a desk that rises up if you need a desk.
Okay.
So it's like a 2-seater couch that transitions to a single bed.
Sounds like a transformer more than it sounds like a couch.
It kind of is.
Okay.
So anyway, it was a very hectic, crazy weekend, and tracking Bills news from there. And I watched Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs twice. So
nice.
That's that. Ken in Lackawanna. Hey, Ken. Good morning.
Hi. How are you?
Good. Very good.
I wanted to ask you a question. That defenseman we got from the Rangers. Well, I got like 3 questions. Is he a veteran or a rookie? I've never heard of him.
He's a veteran, but he's for the Amherst.
Yeah.
You probably won't see him play for the Sabres.
He's not just that. He's a guy.
That was my next question. Is he going to play tonight?
No. He's a guy that was supposed to be great, right? Didn't he have at one point?
The guy they just got from the Rangers?
Brandstrom. Early in his career, wasn't he an international?
I've never heard of him.
This guy is highly thought of.
He captained Sweden in the 2019 World Juniors.
Yeah, at one point he was supposed to be something, and it just has not happened. He's 25.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
And
he was a first-round pick.
Another quick question, and I'll let you go. I want Cooper to come back. The Bills didn't use him right last year. I feel he can help us. They didn't play him enough, and when he was on there, that freed what's his name, Coleman, and the other guy to if they double teamed Cooper, it worked. They could go to the other 2 guys, Shamir and what. I want him back.
Okay. I don't, Ken. I
think there's a defense to they didn't use him right, but I don't also think that means you should want him.
The reason,
Harmon's breakdown was when he was in Cleveland, they ran him with in-breaker routes in play action, and it went pretty good. And then he came here, and the Bills used him a completely different way, running go routes down the field, and he never got open. So, are you going to use him like Cleveland used him last year? Then maybe I get something out of him. If I'm going to use him like I used him here, then no thank you. Yeah. No interest whatsoever.
If he was something let's say it this way, if he in fact opened up the field for everybody else, wouldn't he have played more? He's not on the field because he didn't win.
He also was hurt. Right? Wasn't he?
He was outsnapped in the AFC Championship game by Mac Hollins.
Well, right. Okay, right. By that point.
They threw him a screen on 3rd and 10.
Yeah.
He had not caught a screen the whole year?
That's Matt Harmon said that. I tweeted, good thing they ran a screen route to the guy with that is a 0 after the catch. On their biggest 3rd down of the season, they ran him a screen, and Matt replied and said that was the first screen they ran to him the whole year.
And earlier on that drive, they ran a screen to Shakir. I've got a guy on Twitter yelling at me all the time, he can't believe I think the Bills need receivers because they scored 30 points a game. Congratulations. Hang a banner for your points per game. On the biggest drive of the year, you threw screens. You couldn't separate down the field.
And one of them was to a guy that's not even good in screens.
And Cooper...
he actually, if you watch that playback, there is a hole there.
He slips.
But that's part of the point. Part of the point is you didn't have a guy in that spot with the speed or the ability after the catch that you wanted to have the ball with. If it was Shakir, fine. If it was Samuel, maybe it goes better. But that was part of the point, is you threw it to a guy that he's going to slip or something. It's just he's not good in those situations. I just want a guy who's fast. They used him like a guy who runs a 4-3. Right? A quarter of his routes were just the go routes, straight ahead. They used him like a speed guy, and he's not a speed guy.
No.
That's when my antenna's up, though, where they talk about we need more speed.
A field stretcher.
We need a field stretcher. Harmon's article breaks down that is how they used Cooper.
And he just doesn't do it.
The way they're talking, though, lines up with how they use Cooper, and what would line up is they're going to replace Amari Cooper with a guy that is way faster than him. Maybe he doesn't have the same pedigree. Maybe he's a 3rd-round rookie. I don't know. But they use Cooper like he's a speed threat down the field, which to me means they're going to replace him with a guy who's a lot faster. Or they're going to want to, at least. I don't know if they'll be able to get it done. They need a different skill set for that spot.
Yeah. Wait, I'm on Hollins' watch. Hollins or Cooper watch. Here's one for you, Joe.
I'm just here to say I am not worried if they lose Mac Hollins.
If you could have one of the 2 back, who do you want back? Maybe Ken's right, and they never got off the ground, and it needs an off season. You can have one back. That's a Twitter poll.
They're the same price?
That's a Twitter poll. You can have one back, and you're not mad about the money in either scenario.
Okay, Cooper. I'll go Cooper just on the upside that they would use him differently, and the injury was a factor. I guess I would go Cooper, personally.
Here's the Twitter poll. I wish I had thought of it earlier. You can have one back, and the money is exactly what you would be fine with. I don't want to get bogged down in
Right, yeah.
Cooper 12, Hollins
2,
Hollins
and
8.
Yeah.
Just you get one back at exactly what you're fine with. Cooper or Hollins.
Cooper or Hollins.
803-0550 on that, and the Twitter pulls up. We can dig into that tomorrow. Maybe one of them is extended by tomorrow. Or, yeah, I mean, those two can sign with the Bills because they don't actually hit free agency until Wednesday, but they can talk to teams today.
We probably know something about one of them by the time we're on the air tomorrow. Aren't most guys you're going to know something about today?
You would think, hey, so-and-so, this team has reached out to Mac Hollins.
Sure.
He's been around the league. He's got to be well thought of in a lot of places. When we had, is it Marcus Mosher who came on to talk about him?
Yes.
His time in Atlanta, said, we love this guy.
Yeah.
So the Bills are not the first team to have grabbed Mac Hollins and thought, this is a good guy to have around. He probably has a pretty good reputation.
Yeah.
803-0550. Right now, early voting, it is Mac Hollins 2-1. So, now, if we're going reception perception, Hollins won't rate enough to even get graded by Mac Hollins. By Matt Harmon, I should say. All right, 803-0550, our phone number, and 1-888-550-2550. I do feel a little bit of, I don't know, does anybody else out there feel a little bit of a, that both Garrett and Metcalf as ideas already, in the same day, basically, those are both gone. Garrett went like, okay, you know what, fine. Metcalf, gone 5 minutes later. Yeah. Okay, now what?
They were the top two ideas.
In terms of blue chip talent, yes. Or Hendrickson, I guess we could include him.
But the fact even that they were the two positions that are on the radar maybe the most for people. And that they were perfect fits. Well, somewhat perfect. Garrett, it was exactly what you're looking for in defensive end. Just an elite pass rusher every down.
Moving around.
Metcalf was the right type of receiver for what the Bills needed. So the fits kind of made sense. But I wonder if they were in on Metcalf, though. At all.
I bet they were.
Not for a second, obviously.
I bet they were. No, they might not have been in for $30 million a year.
Yeah.
But I bet they were. I bet they were in on that. Lots to like.
I would hope that they were in on that. And that they didn't just rule it out because, oh no, we don't need a highly paid wide receiver. We don't need that.
I mean, maybe. They might have a plan to draft one.
Yeah. They'll do something. Well, they might have to, right? If they lose Cooper and Hollins to free agency, like in the next 24 hours, then we're going to be here. Receiver train gets more fuel if they don't re-sign Mac Hollins, right? They're going to need a body. Even just you can debate how much they should spend on it, but they're just going to need a body. Hollins played a ton.
He did.
So even though it was only like 300 yards or whatever it was, he was on the field.
Josh Palmer.
See, if they lose Hollins, though, I'm going to be looking at like, all right, who blocks? They're going to want that. They're going to want a guy who blocks.
All right, I got a name for you that's he might this is the Mac Hollins replacement. It's a rookie. The Stanford wide receiver. Ayamanor blocks.
Okay.
Jump a bit. I mean, he might be a little bit more too much like Coleman, but he blocks.
Okay.
803-0550. 1-888-550-2550.
Pickens blocks.
Quick thing to point out. One more thing in the chat. Deuce points out Xavier Worthy busted for domestic violence. The follow-up is that the charges were dropped due to witness testimony that basically a relationship of his that has gone south, has gone very south, and whatever. Google it if you want. Busted for domestic violence is not exactly what has happened. The follow-up has been, I don't know, whatever. I don't need to get into all the details, but I don't think he gets suspended for it. The charges were dropped.
Mm-hmm.
So, check it out. Extendo Sports, which is just the final segment of the show. And Sal coming up with the Extra Point Show, the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show, as the free agency window to talk opens today. Jeremy White here for Wayland Brewing. Snagged a couple of 4-packs yesterday. You're seeing Wayland out in the stores which is great news. They've got taller cans now, and the beer is fantastic. They've got two that I would highly recommend. The Super Deluxe, one of their flagship IPAs, a hazy IPA, and then the Case Study is a West Coast IPA. Both great beers. Get them where you get your beer. And when it comes to Whalen Brewing, whether it's the beer on site in the tap room, which is beautiful, tons of natural light, we're getting to the time of year where, I mean, Whalen's great all times of the year, but now sitting outside, weather up in the 50s and the 60s, the patio's going to be bumping. You've got their hall, which has lots of natural light as well, whether it's a wedding or a corporate event or a graduation party or a charity event. You can book at Wayland and get up to 200 guests, or you can get one of the smaller rooms with private beer tastings, a fantasy football draft. Really, you can make the space your own. And you can also book a midweek event right now, 75 or more guests between April and July. Pay zero room fee. Plan your celebration at Whalen Brewing in Orchard Park. It is a great spot to visit. It's great beer to get to take home. Whalen Brewing. Find your way to great beer. Okay, March 10th. Happy March 10th.
It is the 3-year anniversary of Eichel coming back here. I thought I saw it's an anniversary. Was it the Mario Williams anniversary too?
That's March. I believe that's March 12th.
March 12th. Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
You know, Niagara and Army played in college hockey this weekend. Every game was a 1-goal game, and 2 went to overtime, and 1 went to double overtime.
Yep.
They lost to Army
in overtime.
3-2 double overtime game 1. 4-3 they win game 2. They lose in overtime of game 3.
Yeah.
A close series.
Tough.
Yep. Sal Capaccio is going to have the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show coming up. Hey, Sal.
Hey, guys. We were talking earlier about guys who agree to terms and then go somewhere else. Remember, J.D. McKissick was the famous one for the Bills.
Yes, right. That's right.
I thought about that. That was a big deal. And that was on, and I actually talked with his agent, who was not happy with him, by the way, when he did that, because he had an agreement with the Bills and it made him look bad. And the Bills were not mad at the agent. But also, just a little bit of news here. I've learned over the last hour or so that the Bills will not put a restricted, will not put a tender, RFA tender on tight end Quentin Morris. Not a surprise. It would have been over $3 million for the lowest tender. So Morris, who's been a valuable special teams player, now joins what is 16 Bills set to be unrestricted free agents and allowed to talk to other teams beginning at noon. I have posted the 16 names on my Twitter at Sal Sports.
Okay. Sal, have you heard us talk about Mac Hollins at all? Like the idea that we have Tutu Atwell's out here getting $10 million, and there's no good receivers on the market, and here, like, he can talk to teams at 12. Like, when we talked about him right at the end of the season, it was, okay, a couple $1 million probably you're bringing back. He might think he could do pretty well on the market.
Maybe. Tutu Atwell is 25, 26 years old.
Right.
Mac Hollins is 32.
All right, fair. That's fair.
I don't see something like that for him. I think maybe something around $3-4 million for Mac Hollins would probably make sense. He's kind of earned a little bit more cash, but boy, good for him if he can go out and get it. The Bills can find someone like him, but of course, obviously, he fits in Buffalo and with this team and what he did for the club. But I have every reason to believe, just through talking with him and the Bills, that like both sides would be very interested in having a reunion. But hey, he's earned an opportunity to go see what's out there.
Elijah Moore is another name worth considering, maybe as our Cooper replacement. Just go to the other Browns receiver. Anyway, just thinking about other names out there. All right, Sal's coming up. And Sabres and Oilers tonight from KeyBank Center. We're back tomorrow here on WGR.